Good evening and welcome to Backfire Simsport TV and welcome to the Grand Touring Club Cup Season 2. This is round 7 and we are at Spa. I feel like I've been to Spa a lot lately. Not in real life, sadly, but there you go. I am Pete Bingham and in the booth with me this evening is Tyler Newitt. Good evening.
Hello, Pete. It's probably Sam's fault we go to Spa so often in these leagues.
Yeah, he's addicted to it. And on the cameras is that man, Sam.
Welcome,
Good
Spa,
evening, Sam.
and welcome, fellow commentators. Yeah, I love Spa, yeah, that's true. It's even better in real life. Well, probably not for now, because the road's probably broken, but, you know.
Yeah, apparently you can do better in a canoe at the minute with an outboard motor. I think they should have just got on with it, to be honest. The amount they get paid, surely they can come up with a solution. Anyway, so Tyler, Spa, we have been there a lot. Is it a track that you've grown fond of, or still are you in the camp of those that don't like it?
No, I don't like it. That's why I'm not racing today. It doesn't. I don't know. I don't know why I don't get along with it, but I don't. It doesn't suit me. It definitely suits some people, though, and some people seem to really enjoy it for whatever reason. So we usually get some pretty good racing here. That's been the thing that stands out to me, and is probably why we keep bringing the BSTV leagues here, is that we always seem to get pretty excellent racing, pretty excellent battles. I did the V8 ESC race here not all that long ago. That was a pretty fun race. We got some pretty wild battles for the lead in that one, I think, that I was not a part of. But we should see some good racing here tonight, I'm sure, assuming the Paceworks boys don't run away with this one.
Well, they won't dominate it quite as much as normal because Tice Simons, the championship leader at the moment, isn't here tonight. So he's giving someone else a go at taking the top trophy home. They've also got a new paint scheme, I think, because I don't remember the darker blue on the bonnet of that car. I do like the Paceworks paints, to be fair. But also to note for the fans is midweek this week was the daddy of all downloads and updates from iRacing. There was a lot of changes in it, and one of them was to do with track limits, Tyler. And you'll probably be able to update the fans better than I can. You now get a little rules thing in the pre-screen in your race entry screen, which tells you all about track limits and how the track deems track limits to be recorded. Because it does change corner to corner, doesn't it?
It does. Yeah, I'm not sure if that rules tab is in place for all tracks, or just the tracks that have the new style of track limit enforcement, which at the moment is just Spa and the newly released Red Bull Ring. But essentially what it is where previously iRacing would detect if kind of an arbitrary geometrical center point of the car was over the track limit point. So, for instance, at Spa, that is all of the red and white curbing that you see Jamie Wilson going by right there. There's plenty of it, so you can get a sense of that. Prior to the update, it was if that center point of the car was over the red and white curbing, you would get a 1x or a slowdown or whatever they'd assigned to that particular off-track point. What they've changed it to now, which I personally, having just tested it a little bit, think is a lot better, is if you drop all 4 of your tires past that point. So you can see there Jamie was riding with 2 of his tires over the outside of that red and white curbing, but not all 4. So he's fine there. If he were to get all 4 off, that would be a 1x there, which is what Spa was kind of notorious for. But the reason I say I think it's a lot better is a lot of the time you were just kind of guessing where the center point of the car was, and we had this discussion before we went on the air. You were just kind of guesstimating where the center point of your car was, and if you were over the line, and you didn't really know till you got the penalty whether or not you were. But these curbs have texture to them. They give feedback through the steering wheels to any of the drivers that are running force feedback wheels, which I have to believe is most of them, except probably Carl Hardy. But you'll get that feedback from the rumble of the curb, from your tires. So as long as you've got a tire on the curb, you can feel it. You know where you are in regards to the track limits. So it's just a lot easier to keep cognizant of where those limits are and not find yourself kind of pushing the limit and running afoul of it without realizing or knowing why you did.
Yeah, and as we watch Marco Loer in a paint scheme that looks like, when they send the prototype cars out onto the road and they don't want people to know what the lines are on the car, the shape of it, and they do that crazy paint scheme, it looks like that. You've just lost a friend in David Heavey, who says commentator doesn't like Spa, unfollowed yo, so he's done it gangster style, unfollowed yo. Okay, gangster David Heavey, driving around in a blacked out BMW somewhere. But yeah, the reason I say that is because Spa used to be a track where it was a 1X magnet. You would drive the same racing line as the real world racing drivers, but end up with a whole bag full of 1Xs for your troubles. So hopefully this will make it a bit more simulated, as it were, a bit more realistic in those terms.
Yeah.
Sorry, go on.
Oh, I was just going to say, I mentioned we ran the V8 ESC race here not that long ago, and I spent a while running with our BSTV teammate Adam Wright, who's in this race as well. And there were a couple times either he was behind me or I was behind him, and we'd go through a section of the track and be like, did you get a 1X there? And sometimes we did and sometimes we didn't. And that just kind of tells you how, somewhat arbitrary it is, because I have to believe we'll be able to see if these drivers are violating those off-track limits. As that's a spin for, is that Andy Perks?
It is, yep.
Yeah, so he's gone for a spin. That's at the end of the Kemmel Straight, isn't it? Yes, it is. So
yeah,
long way to go on that lap for him. He'll probably reset to the pits. There's Stein Hendricks. But, it was annoyingly arbitrary before, and I think it's a much-needed change that iRacing's done. See, right there, Stein may or may not have gotten an off-track for that in the past, but he definitely did not today, because that is not over the limit.
It's going to take a little bit of relearning for a lot of the guys that do this track or have done this track an enormous amount over the last few years. Because
Pete,
that's a fundamental change, isn't it?
It is. I just want to highlight that there are currently 2 purple times on the board. If that's not my timing software acting up, it appears as though JVZ and Chris Shaw have set exactly the same pole time.
They really have, to the 1,000th of the second. I've never seen that.
I've seen it in like short track oval racing. Maybe you get in like the rookie street stock. Sometimes you get those.
Yeah.
But those are 12-second laps, not 2-minute and 12-second laps. So
yeah, it was such a shock that Stein Hendricks lost control of his car. Couldn't believe
it seems that way. Yeah, but to your point you were making before, I noticed that. I felt like it was by virtue of it being more intuitive. By the end of that kind of short little practice session I had picked up on how to drive kind of around and in the limits. So I think these drivers, with the hour of practice we had before the race and this half-hour qualifying session, they'll be pretty well having wrapped their heads around it going into the race today. Yeah,
and they'll have done a bag full of practice laps already. Hopefully not before Wednesday, because I think that's when the update was. Might have been Tuesday. We are halfway exactly through this qualifying session at the moment. As you can see on your screens, Joachim and Chris share that top spot for Paceworks and for BSTV. I don't know what it's going to do in terms of... I suppose it was the first one that did it, I guess. iRacing will go for. I can't think of any other way other than alphabetically that it would choose who would be on pole.
My understanding, Pete, actually, that's how they do it in real life, is the first one to set it. In iRacing, they actually, because it's all, virtual, they can measure closer than the 1,000th. So it only obviously shows the 1,000th of a second, but iRacing is counting down to a tighter margin than that. So
Wow.
it will have actually determined who set the quicker of those two identical lap times, is my understanding of how it works.
In that case, Chris is going to be annoyed because he's not on the top spot. I didn't know that. That's incredible information, to be honest. I didn't think iRacing was that intelligent. Never mind. It's far more intelligent than me. And Chris Shaw says balls. I think he's referring to the Football World Cup. I'm not sure, but there's a smiley crying face. Yeah, can we go on board with Yoshim? We'll see if he's going to do a fast lap. And you're probably best placed to talk us through this.
Yeah, so he is up through Eau Rouge now, pretty well within the limits. That doesn't look like a push lap, although these cars obviously do have much more downforce than the V8s we've been driving, but we'd be all the way out on that right-hand exit curb. So braking right about at the start of the left-hand curbing here. It's a right and then a left. You want to get the car over those apex curbs to really get it turned. Same here as you head down into Brussels. Again, using a lot of the track, but he's got some margin there. Pretty late braking into Brussels. Generally the line is to keep it pinned to the apex there, and he does that. Same here as you head downhill. You're going to want to be over the apex curb, taking a lot of that exit curb, which you can do now comfortably. Ride the entrance curb into the double left-hander. Smooth sailing, not really pushing the limits once again. So Joachim is really keeping it within the margins here. I'd be a little surprised if this is a quick lap, braking right under the bridge, again into another right-hand, left-hand combination. This one a little wider than the one before earlier in the track, getting up halfway over those curbs. It's a pretty similar story all the way through this track. You got to use those apex curbs to get the car turned, and use the entrance curbs to widen the corner entry. That's basically the secret to Spa, is using the curbs. And honestly, that's why some people were a little peeved, I think, at the 1X's situation, because you have to use those curbs to get the most out of the lap around here. Flat out, I have to believe in the GTEs through here, and pretty easy making that corner. That was not the case in the V8s a couple weeks ago.
Definitely
hard
not.
braking into the bus stop chicane, using everything but the sausage curb to get the car around. A smooth lap from JVZ, but not going to set the timing sheet alight. He's about... no, I'm absolutely wrong. A really good last sector. Well, he had a couple of slower sectors in there, but his final sector was phenomenal. Really quick, and that's what put him just a smidge now, almost a 10th clear of Chris Shaw, so really widened that gap. But a solid lap from JVZ, and really well within the limits. So if you're somebody who's trying to chase down Joachim, that's not going to ease your worries, seeing how smooth that lap was and well within the limits, because he's still got room to push, I have to say.
Yeah, it looked almost lazy, if you take my point, but that was absolutely blistering. An entire 10th faster than Chris Shaw. Good evening to, obviously we mentioned David Heavey, Wobbly, who is still trying to have a pop at me. He's failing miserably. And then Ben Cullen, who's driving, chatting, watching IndyCar, and typing at the same time, because he can. So, where are we in terms of the championship? Well, for the pro standings, Ty Simons is kind of running away with it. He could probably go a couple of weekends without turning up and still be okay. Paul Burgess is in second place, with Stuart Dick in third. Both of those for Asymmetric, or one of their teams. And then Tom Sluter, another Paceworks driver like Tice, and Marcus Bletz for VTS. In AM, Barry van Englenhoven is the top man at the moment. He is very closely followed by Baz Sluter. And Marcel Kempenaar is your third placed AM driver so far. Mark Heron is in fourth. And Callum Mooney is in fifth place. In terms of the team standings, we have... Right, and you'll have to pay attention. Oh no, there's not another one until I get to ninth place. So, A-Symmetric, they are the top team at the moment. And they've got 2,472 points with drop week. Paceworks Esports have 2,068, so they're 400 points behind, let's call it. So a bit of a big gap, to be honest. VTS Red are in third. Dutch's Esports Charlie are in fourth, and Dutch's Esports Bravo are in fifth. All the points are available on the BSTV website, so get yourself down there if you've never been. Have a look around, and you can see what else we've got going on.
Pete, I was just going to say the deal with the team standings and why Paceworks is not easily on top when their drivers have been relatively dominant is similar to the GT4 TCR League. The way the team standings works here is you only nominate 2 drivers per team. So if you have... It's not like the V8 League where you can have 3 drivers per team and the top 2 score points. You only get the 2 nominated drivers. So if one of those drivers has a bad round or doesn't show up, it can really sink you in the team's championship. So I would imagine, I'm not sure which of the asymmetric drivers are in that team championship leading team, but I would imagine it's a couple of the ones who have been incredibly consistent in turning up and scoring good, consistent finishes.
Yeah, absolutely. And Ben
was sending it into the double left-hander there. I think that's going to invalidate his lap. I didn't see if he got all the way off the curb there, but he, well, they call him Send Cullen for a reason, don't they?
I was going to say, did you just say that Send bend it into the corner? Yeah, you'd have been fine spoonerising that one. It'd be cool. Evening to Andrew McKinley on the chat. How many drivers are there in the league? There are a lot. There's 25 in the race tonight. Registered for the league, there is an enormous amount more. The entry list is... Oh dear, I'm going to have to count it out, aren't I?
I think it's close to 50 people.
50? Yeah, 50.
Yeah, something like that.
So it's a big old field. Ben says, nice try, Pete. Yeah, I even stumbled over my own joke. So, yeah, it's a big league. It's very, very competitive. And you get a lot of really close battles. We've had a few crash fests as well along the way. But, you know, that's entertainment as well. We've had... was it this league where Marco Lewert jumped over the pit wall and landed on his roof? Or was that another one? No, that was this one.
That was the Zolder race, yeah, that got rerun.
Yeah, that was just crazy. Good for a spectacle, but yeah, crazy. So yeah, and let's just run through the top 5 of each class. Do you want to do pro as they stand provisionally?
Yeah, can do. So it is JVZ, Joachim Venezuelan, for Paceworks, who leads the way on a 2:12.5. Chris Shaw for BSTV Esports Green is second. Just a little over a tenth now. JVZ improved again there. Chris Shaw on a 2:12.651. Adam Watson, another Paceworks driver, the only Porsche represented for Paceworks today, sits third on a 2:13.0, so a full half a second off of his teammate on pole. Paul Burgess, one of the asymmetric drivers, sits in fourth. He has switched to a Porsche for this round as well, having driven a Ferrari for most of the season. Abdul Al Amri, another asymmetric driver, is fifth, also in a Porsche.
And for AM, you'll see on your screen they are orange numbered. The green ones are the ones that Tyler was just reading out. They're the pro drivers. But your AMs are Callum Mooney is currently the first of our AM drivers in AM Sim Metric. Second is Mick Muller for Black Box Sim Racing. Third is Marcel Kempenaar for Dutch's Esports Charlie. Fourth is Stefan Goebel for VTS Yellow. And the fifth, excuse me, is Stein Hendricks, who we saw going sideways before, for Dutch's Gaming. Now, there's more vets than there normally is. You said this before we joined, and I'm intrigued. Is it the update that's made it different?
I think so. They did buff the Corvette a little bit in terms of the balance of performance. I know that. I was talking with Gary, who I know drives with you in the Corvette sometimes in the endurance races. He was saying it. I think it got a weight reduction, and some or most of the other cars got a weight increase. So definitely trying to make the Corvette a little more viable. I think the consensus prior to this was it was a very comfortable car to drive, and there was no tracks it was particularly weak at, but it didn't have the upper limit competitive pace to really fight with the other cars in the hands of the top drivers. But how must you feel if you're Marcel Kempenaar? You've been flying the flag for Corvette all season, and suddenly all the top guys are showing up in Corvettes. You're not going to be, he gets shout outs on the broadcast every week for being the top running Corvette. I don't know that that's going to happen today.
No, and the Vet is a strange car to drive, in the fact that there's not many cars that I know. Ooh, that's a straight on. Not many cars that I know where you wait till the first red light comes on your dashboard and then upshift, and it's faster. It's a strange car to drive, and it doesn't behave like the other GTE cars, which is kind of why myself and Gary liked it, to be honest. And it was nice and stable, even though Marco is proving me wrong. It is a nice car to drive. But Bill is busy sending me hate messages probably now because he really doesn't like it. I'll be back very shortly, Tyler. If you can just entertain the crowd, I'll be back in like 1 minute.
Yeah, so I might as well, while we're waiting for Pete to come back, cover kind of what in general changed with the GTEs. It wasn't the gist from the iRacing staff was that it wasn't a massive change. But a lot of little things that, kind of add up to make the cars more realistic. One of the main points of discussion as far as the tires are concerned, I saw a lot of drivers talking about, for a couple seasons now, the wear has been pretty significant on the tires for these cars. It's a struggle to get to, for instance, the length of our race today at 2 hours. You could do it, but you often had guys ending up somewhere in the 10 to 30% range on their tires, which is pretty difficult to hang on to at the end of a 2 hour race. Apparently, the tire wear has been reduced somewhat. I don't think it's to the level where it was previously, because before that, you could, on occasion, quadruple stint the tires, but have heard from some of the drivers that has been reduced a not insignificant amount. In addition, they did some tweaks to the aero with, I think it was yaw stability, something to do with the aero effects in yaw. And what they've done, I believe, is just kind of made it a bit more pointy on turn-in, but then as the yaw aero effect increases and builds up, the car becomes more stable. So essentially kind of increasing the positive effects of the aero yaw as you turn through the corner and load the car in yaw, which should help these drivers somewhat, should make them handle a little bit better, especially in the higher speed corners where you're really relying on that aero load to get through, and there are plenty of them at Spa, including the world-renowned Eau Rouge and Radion, which we're about to see Chris Shaw go through here at full speed, taking full advantage of those aero effects, and he is riding all the way out to the curb. So we saw JVZ on what I think he ended up beating that lap, but his at the time pole-setting lap, getting nowhere near the exit curb at Radion. On the other hand, Chris Shaw running all the way out, taking all of it. Now, this is the last lap for Chris Shaw. Qualifying is over, but he did cross the line before it finished. So he is going to be working hard here to try and unseat JVZ. Don't know if it's going to happen, but he's going to give it his best shot, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm back, by the way. And Skull TBD, whoever that is, said that he saw Marco Lewert go sliding past him in the pits at Zandvoort. So, yeah, it was an exciting day. Let's hope we don't have that today.
Yeah, let's hopefully the session is set for a rolling start.
So his Sector 2 is green, not purple, so that's not going to help him out too much.
No, and his Sector 1 was not particularly quick either. So he's going to need to find some speed in the back half of the track. Is Chris Shaw. Just looking at his times against JVZ now, I don't think he's going to have this one.
No.
We'll wait and see, though. He could set a blistering final sector. Maybe he'll, I don't know, shortcut the bus stop or something, but working his way now down into that final corner.
If I'm reading this right, though, his first 4 sectors are faster than Jocham's.
You are not reading that correctly.
Am I not?
No.
Oh, no, sector 3 is slower.
Yeah.
And so sector 2.
So a 2:12. So did he match?
He chipped off a little bit
That's
of his
right,
time.
yes, it was a 6:15 before.
Yeah.
So 4 1,000s, not quite going to get the job done for Chris Shaw, but still a solid second place qualifying effort for the BSTV Sport driver, which we always like to see.
Yeah, without a doubt. Jamie Wilson reminding everybody in the race that the start on the layout is after La Source and not before.
Well, of course it is, but it's also the leader's prerogative once the pace car is pulled into the pit lane. So that's going to be tricky for this field to manage. They'll have to be keeping an eye on when JVZ goes. It can get kind of sketchy, I know. Hopefully he keeps them checked up behind La Source, but we'll have to see how that all shakes out. With these cars, though, it's a little easier to go too wide through Eau Rouge safely. So some cars like the V8s, if you do that start on the downhill, it can get very, very hairy very quickly up through Eau Rouge and Raidillon.
Yeah, and Chris on the chat has said his optimal was a 112.4, but he didn't get to do it. Actually, what he said was ruined it. So he's not hit his optimal. I've never hit my optimal on any track ever. Actually, that's wrong. I did it on a dirt oval once at Volusia. But then the lap time was like 10 seconds or something. Anyway, so we are going to trip over in a few seconds into the race session, and we will get the starting grid up. So do you want to run us through the first page, and we'll swap pages every 12?
Sure thing. So on pole is JVZ, Joachim Venezuelan for Paceworks Esports. Chris Shaw for BSTV Esports Green lines up in second. Adam Watson, another Paceworks driver, lines up third. Paul Burgess for Asymmetric is fourth. Abdul Emery, also for Asymmetric, is fifth. Martin Versluven for Dutchies Esports Alpha lines up sixth. Carl Moore for Paceworks Esports seventh. Adam Wright for BSTV Esports Yellow lines up 8th. Callum Mooney, the first AM driver, lines up 9th for AM Symmetric. Jonathan Foote for Paceworks Esports lines up in 10th. McMuller for Black Box Sim Racing lines up 11th. Marcel Kempenaar, Dutchies Esports Charlie, lines up in 12th.
Thanks for that, Tyler. And I'll carry on once the screen changes for me. Jamie Wilson will go off 13th for Team Chimera. Sand Cullen goes off 14th for BSTV Esports Yellow. Stefan Goebel will go off 15th for VTS Yellow. And for VTS Red, next to him will be Marcus Bletz in 16th. 17th will be Marco Loert, another VTS Red car. Stein Hendricks goes off 18th for Dutchies Gaming. Mark Heron off 19th for Amsymmetric. Larry DeLonge for Dutchies Esports Alpha will go off 20th. 21st will be Yaz Samai for Amsymmetric, providing his internet holds up. In South Africa, they have like this bike that you have to pedal while you're racing to keep your internet going. 22nd is Stuart Dick for Asymmetric. Andy Perks will go off 23rd for Amsymmetric. And Matt Snoot will go off 24th for Team Black Diamond, with, I think, Brendan Lennox bringing up rear of the field, but I'm not sure. Is he in the session? No, he's just left the session, actually. So
yeah, nor is Matt Snook, I'm showing, not on the grid either. So Matt might be starting from pit lane, however.
Actually, that's not a bad shout for Spa, is it?
Yeah, it could work out for you, depending how the leader goes. Not a great qualifying effort from Stuart Dick. I'm a bit surprised by that one. Maybe just hasn't had time to practice this week, but
Mick Muller posted a note a minute ago saying he was, well, was it silly enough? I don't know. It was in one of the Discord channels that I can't find now. To say he didn't change his setup for the new changes that they've uploaded to us. So I think there are certain ones are suffering.
It's certainly possible, yeah, if he hasn't had the chance to test. He does have teammates he can rely on, of course, part of that massive asymmetric stable. But where is Chris Shaw going?
He's setting his own rules.
Yeah. Well, as we had discussed, the official start is right after La Source. I think what we'll probably see is JVZ making the corner and stepping on it, but obviously still holding the field for now, and Chris Shaw trying to, I think, keep it tight to the pace car so he couldn't do that. Obviously, Chris would get a black flag if he kept that up too long, but still holding him out of La Source. The field bunching up back behind. Almost everybody's there. Now he's gone. He's got a good jump, and he's brought Adam Watson, his teammate, with him. So good coordination there by the Paceworks boys, whether that was intentional or not. They've got a 1-2 set up nicely, and Chris is under fire from Paul Burgess immediately.
Martin Verschluven got a massive run on, I think it was AAA. It was definitely an asymmetric car.
Refreshingly clean through Eau Rouge, and Chris Shaw is sending it on the leader. Oh, that was deep on the brakes. I think
too deep.
Yeah. Oh, careful, Chris, coming back on there. I think he knew. Oh, that's a spin in the back. I saw Ben Cullen. That's Mark Herron who's involved.
Oh.
I didn't see exactly what happened. I saw Ben was either right in front of that or a part of it. That is Callum Mooney, another asymmetric car in trouble. So Amsymmetric having some issues early on here. I was going to say with Chris Shaw, it looked like he was just trying to get by Adam Watson. But the way he dove it in there, he was going to hit JVZ, I think. So kind of did the right thing as it was and sent it straight on to avoid hitting the Paceworks car. But it's cost him dearly. Sits now in 7th, just ahead of teammate Adam Wright.
I actually thought it was Ben, but that's not far enough back in the field, is it really?
Well, I don't know what happened to Ben, because he qualified much better. He wasn't that far off Adam, I thought, and he was far enough back to be a part of that initial incident. Yeah, he was really deep on the brakes there. Just a bit too deep.
Yeah. I'm sure a man of his caliber will make up those positions by the end of the race. Not sure what happened there.
Yeah, I was just looking away just as it happened, so I saw even less of it than you did. But
here we go.
So Ben got turned by Marco, and Mark got on the brakes trying to avoid Ben, I think, and just locked the rears is what it looked like. So it was actually ahead of Mark where that first started, between Marco Lewert and Ben Cullen. Oh, and this is what happened to Callum Mooney. 3 wide into Brussels. Not going to work.
Never.
That must have been Carl Moore. Or was that... no, it wasn't. It was the other Paceworks car who is Jonathan Foote, I think, involved in that one. I didn't catch who was all the way on the inside there, but... McMuller. Yep, thank you, Sam.
Here we go again. I thought we were going to see... who is it?
Martin Verschluven trying to make it 3 wide. Oh, that's deep, Adam. Did the same thing his teammate did the lap before. And he's going to lose out a couple of places here as Marcel Kempenaar and Jamie Wilson go through. Well, he's battling back with Jamie Wilson. He'll have to serve a slowdown, I would think. Perhaps it's already been served, but...
Nice to see me, or is that Paul Burgess in front of the leaders?
Nope, that's Paul Burgess in front of Abdul Al-Amri and Carl Moore in the Paceworks Corvette back behind them. So there are 3 Paceworks Corvettes in this. One of them is leading. One of them is right there, Carl Moore, and that's the other, Jonathan Foote, behind Stefan Goebbels, who is battling now behind Ben Cullen. So Ben's been gotten back through on Marco and several other cars in the process. I don't know if that was position redressed or that was just Ben fighting back.
I think it was him fighting back. He's pulled 4 positions in a lap.
Yeah, he really didn't get too much. He didn't get any damage that I saw from the spin. It was just a little, kind of half spin, and he collected it
Yeah.
kind of with Marco pointing him back in the right direction again. So one way or another, Ben is back forward, moving forward up into 15th.
Jamie Wilson's getting some real attention from Adam now. I'm going to say not that many BMWs in the field now. There is only Jamie and Stein Hendricks, I think. Matt Snook, he's way back, yeah.
Yeah. He must have had some issues, because it definitely wasn't just starting from the pits. He's a full lap down already. So
curb cam, don't blink, guys. Don't blink.
And look at the gap that the Paceworks duo has built already.
Yeah.
We saw that in qualifying that it was kind of those top three, those two and Chris Shaw, who were the class of the field, and everybody else was very close but a ways behind them, and that seems to be the case playing out in the race as well. Chris Shaw proving past Martin Versluven, working his way back forward after his early spin. So we saw Martin Versluven putting pressure on the asymmetric duo, but he wasn't able to make anything happen. I was a little bit surprised because he looked like he had the speed, but maybe just the asymmetric Porsches getting their tires up to temp or kind of getting comfortable in race pace on the track. But they are still heading up this train, and I'd have to believe they're going to be under fire from Chris Shaw before very long at all.
Yeah, he's certainly scything his way through. AAA, I think, is his next intended victim. But he's dragging Martin Versluven with him, so whether that means the two asymmetric boys are going to get broken up here. Hopefully not in literal terms. Oh, no, that's bad in the background. Stewart getting turned.
That was Mick Muller getting spun.
Oh, sorry, Mick Muller, yeah.
Yeah, I think it was it Carl Moore who got into him?
I think it has to be, yeah.
Yeah. So he's dropped back, and Jamie Wilson unfortunately had nowhere to go. He's lost several spots in the process as well. And I was wrong. Marco is still ahead of Ben Cullen. I must have seen Adam up ahead of them. Yes, it was Carl Moore. Not sure what he was trying to accomplish there. There wasn't really room to make a pass, but...
I think the biggest loser in all that was Jamie Wilson.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. He just had nowhere to go and dropped back quite a few positions. And there is Ben Cullen. So the two yellow BSTV Porsches mixed me up. Ben is still behind that group, but has caught back up now and looking to work his way back through. Wobbly wants the forest shots from the helicopter again to make his day complete.
You're going to have to do all this stuff because I keep ignoring all his posts.
Well, this is an excellent camera shot, actually. This is a great helicopter. Now we lose the cars as they go through the trees, but this is what he wanted. So there they are again. Chris Shaw making the move on Abdul. Look at that overspeed. That is...
And he's going to get two for one.
Yeah, I don't know if that's Ferrari versus Porsche or Chris Shaw's setup versus the two asymmetric drivers, but he had a phenomenal run. Part of it, too, is how you take Eau Rouge and Radeon really sets up your speed down the Kemmel Straight. So it could very well have been that Chris Shaw just got a phenomenal run because we didn't really see it behind the helicopter. But one way or another, he is clear of the asymmetric cars and back into third position. I just saw the little off-track indicator flashing, but I did also see something that the new system was messing with VRS as far as what was an off-track or not, and I'm wondering if it's not the same for SDK, if we're not seeing what would have been off-tracks being registered, even though they're not with the new system, but hard to say.
Yeah, that was Carl Moore trying to do a move on Marcel Kempenaar. Oh, hang on, that's the car facing the wrong way.
And it's Adam Wright. Oh, that's a tough spot. Oh, careful. He's got to wait for everybody to go through. Now he's good to go. He's got some damage on the rear wing. Now what happened there? That's a weird place to do it.
And he's on his own.
I don't see anyone behind him, so yeah. What's he done?
Too wide.
Oh, Adam.
Tires off.
Oh, so there was somebody who hit him. Was that?
Yeah, who was that?
Jamie Wilson potentially?
Tell you what.
It was Stefan, maybe? It was one of the white cars in that pack. I didn't see which one it was specifically, but...
Here we go.
Yeah, we'll give it a shot here.
Or rather, Stefan will. Whoa.
Oh, yeah. A little bit of netcode as well, but Stefan was looking to make a move on Mick Muller. And then Jamie got into the back of... is that Jonathan Foote or Carl Moore?
Jonathan Foote.
Yes, yeah, one of the Paceworks Corvettes. So all those drivers lucky not to get even more damage than they did, but Adam Wright, obviously the biggest loser and all that, unfortunately.
Yeah, and I tell you what, it does show you how iRacing has evolved, because if you had even some of those, even small hits a few years ago, you would be gone, you'd be history.
Yeah, and now suddenly the asymmetric car is struggling, especially Paul Burgess, because he's lost a spot to Chris Shaw, his teammate Abdul Al-Amri, and now Marcel Kempenaar is through on both of the asymmetric cars. So, sorry, Martin Versluven, wrong Dutch used car.
Yeah.
Is through, so trouble. And look at this pack. I mean, these guys have been together all race, and they are still going at it.
Good to see Andy Perks has caught up. Yeah, he has caught up, yeah.
He's at, well, yes, he had a not so great qualifying. He's up 3 spots from where he started, but he's still running just in 20th now.
Yeah.
Ben Cutland, through all that's gone on, is back up into 12th place.
And he's having a good look at Stefan now.
Oh, that was keeping true to his name, I would say.
Yeah.
Looking for a window that was always going to close, and it did, and Ben backed out of it in his defense. Now around the outside.
He's scared, Stefan.
That was bizarre. I don't know how that worked. Obviously, Ben knew what he was doing because Stefan was making a mistake, but I didn't really see it happening until Ben was already alongside him.
And did you see behind him now is the full colours of the VTS rainbow?
Yes.
There's about 3 of them there.
Yeah, Marco, Stefan, and Marcus all in a line there. Oh, and something's happened to Jonathan Foote.
Oh.
He is out of the race.
And he's quit the session.
Yeah, so what's going on here? Oh, he's run
wide. Ball.
Into the wall. So that was the first one, we're told. And so at the fastest part of the track here.
I was going to say, this looks a lot... Oh, is that hardware?
No, that's a hardware failure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
That's a shame for Jonathan. And one less bullet in the Paceworks gun, though he was, I believe, the lowest running of the team. And they're still doing pretty well with a handy top 2. Martin Versluven, who had gotten by Abdul Al-Amri, is back behind him, trying to go around the other way this time at the end of the Kemmel Straight. Looks like he'll get this done again. But Abdul fighting back around the outside as they head down towards Brussels. That is strong performance from Abdul. The Porsche's always been pretty good through the corners, but Abdul really wringing its neck to stay ahead of Martin Versluven here. Now this group, the 4 cars, have kind of got a bit of a breakaway back to Jamie Wilson, and that's where really the pack is going at it. They had been leading that pack up, but they've been able, I think, with Adam's issue and some of the other battles that have gone on here, they've been able to stretch it a little bit. And all of this, and we are only 12 minutes into an hour-and-a-half race.
It's just crazy, isn't it? It's always like this as well.
It is.
I thought that Martin had got past Abdul.
Yes, that's what I was saying. He did.
Right.
The lap before at the end of the straight. I don't know where Abdul got him back. He might have just fought back after we cut away to look at Jonathan Foote's incident. But yeah, one way or another, Abdul got back ahead, but these two have been going at it pretty well. The Porsche is not a tall car, but even it makes the Ford look tiny in comparison.
Like stamped on it and squashed it.
Yes.
Look at this lot.
Yeah, this is what we've been talking about. This battling horde, I think, is the only way to describe it. Jamie Wilson.
Somebody round at the chicane. Stein Hendricks.
Okay, yeah, didn't see who it was. Good catch, Pete. Yeah, Stein Hendricks, who will rejoin a little bit off of that pack now. Did he get help from Andy Perks?
No, I don't think he did.
No, he didn't. He just outbroke himself.
Yeah.
Lock the rears. Andy scoots by. Says thank you very much. Oh, and Mark Heron, nowhere to go there. Just nudges into him. Nothing Stein did wrong there. He's sitting in the track, trying to get out of it. So.
Oh, here we go again.
Once again, Verschluven around the outside. Can he make it stick this time? So far, so good. We'll see how he holds it down through Brussels. Abdul's got the wig on today.
He really has, yeah. In your inset picture there.
Yeah.
He's got an inset of an inset.
Working hard in that rig. Talking to somebody. Presumably his asymmetric team.
Or one of his many followers on Twitch.
Also possible, yep. Could be Ben commenting in his Twitch chat as well as the race stream comments.
Asking him for how he does it.
Yeah, yep. Asking for him to wait up, probably.
Yeah.
He is fighting hard, though. He's not letting Martin Verschluven get away. It seems like Martin is able to kind of stretch the legs of the Ford on the quick portions of the track, the long straightaways, of which there are plenty at Spa, but the toe seems very strong for that Porsche in behind him.
And Abdul's
able to suck right up in behind him. Where Martin's been strong has been through Eau Rouge and onto the Kemmel Straight, and we'll see if he does it again this time with the lead in hand.
But Carl Moore has now got on the back of that group, and this group's kind of segmented a little. So we've got a 4-car train here, as we focus in on Martin.
Yeah, great camera shot here again from the helicopter view. So they'll disappear behind the trees as they go up through Radion, and we'll see where they emerge. But if I had to make a guess, I would say Martin will have stretched it over Abdul. Larry DeLange's had something happen to him. He's dropping back.
Yes, he's on the event tracker, has crashed.
Yeah, we're on, and he's in the pits now. We're on board with Carl Moore, who's getting a windshield full of Paul Burgess's bumper. He looks towards the inside. He's got some speed. Late on the brakes and gets it done. That's a good pass.
Yeah, that's how you do it.
Here's Marcel Kempenaar defending from Ben Cullen and not going to make it work. So Ben's through up back into 9th place. Solid recovery from him so far. Here is the VTS asymmetric battle with a Dutchie's car hanging onto the back of it. Here's what's happened to Larry. Let's see. LaSource.
All the way around.
Spun it.
I've done that many times.
And everybody goes around. That is good coordination on everybody else to steer clear.
And of course, he is the car at the... Oh, dear.
That's Marcus.
Yeah.
That's the red one. You can sort of identify the VTS cars by their secondary colors. Stefan is the kind of yellow and purple one with the yellow wheels. Marcus is the red one. Marco, I think, was the all-purple one when he was in a Porsche, but now he's in the Corvette, which is the black with the white letters. We really need a spotter's guide for this series.
Yeah, it'd be out of date after a week, wouldn't it?
It would, yeah.
It's a lot.
So this battle hasn't really broken away. I thought Martin would be able to pull a gap up over the hill last time around, and I don't know if he did because we shifted to that other battle, but battling with Abdul here, and Carl we saw get through on Paul Burgess at the end of the straight, is now looking at the back of the other asymmetric Porsche. We'll see if he can do the same thing he did to Paul to Abdul this time around.
Yeah, so I'll run through the top fives for everybody. Your leader at the minute is Joachim van Zuylen, JBZ to us for Paceworks. Adam Watson, his teammate, is in second. Chris Shaw is in third for BSTV Esports Green. Fourth is Martijn Verschluven for Dutchie's Alpha. And AAA, who is on your screen there, or was, for Asymmetric, is in fifth. That's all right. soon as I said it, Sam cut.
Oh, that was...
I just said sorry to Pete. Oh.
Sorry, that was Andy Perks going by Stefan Goebbels. Stefan ran wide, I think, because Marcus has gone through as well. So in the asymmetric versus VTS battle, it's all asymmetric going through. And now Yaz Samai is going to have a look at Stefan Goebbels and see if he can't join in on the fun. Oh, there was contact there.
Well, he didn't hit check him. He had nowhere else to go, but...
yeah, that... So I think Andy missed his breaking point here, and he's just sent it. Yeah, so that was actually good of Stefan. He saw that Andy was going to be missing the corner. He tried to go as wide as he could to let him essentially miss the corner and sail on through, but he had to cut it back at some point, and unfortunately Andy was still there. I'd kind of like to see Andy give that one back, but he hasn't yet. Stefan's dropped back now behind his teammate too, so don't know if we'll see that happen. But that's one of those. It's a racing incident, but if you're Andy, you kind of have to recognize that it wasn't all that fair to miss the corner and get the position because you ran the other guy off the road a bit. But
yeah, there was nothing nefarious in it.
No, of course not. It's just
misjudged his breaking point, but.
I think acknowledging mistakes is the name of the game here. So we'll see. I don't think that'll be a protest from Stefan if he doesn't. Just one of those things you'd kind of like to see. But here, still in the same order they were last time around. But Carl Moore is looking closer, I think, to the bumper of Abdul El Emry than he was the previous lap. We'll see if he can get a good run through Radion and make the move at the end of the straight.
Yeah, he's definitely closer, like you say. He should get a double toe here, which should be handy for him.
I wonder if Martin got a slowdown there, because he was very slow out of Radion. Abdul got quite the run. He's going around the outside now. Can he make that stick?
He may well do, although...
well, we saw this before. Abdul around the outside there, down into Brussels, and he made it work before, and he's done it again. So, phenomenal. Oh, no!
Oh, he's thrown it away, though.
But he's done well to keep it on the track. That could have been disaster for Abdul. If you get out into that sand, you're going into the wall. So really well done. Yeah, really well done to hold on to it for Abdul, but he has thrown away that position and now is really under fire from Carl Moore.
I think you're right, by the way. I think Martine got a slowdown at the top of the hill. Or at the top of Radion. Yeah,
it's tough to say, but you don't... we haven't seen Abdul have that much overspeed on anybody today. Seems like he's running quite a bit of downforce in that Porsche. So it just seemed as though Martin was trying to burn off a slowdown, maybe. So what's happened between Adam Wright and Mark Herron? Sorry, or is that Ben Cullen? Oh, Mark's done it himself. Locked up the rears going into the chicane. Not been a super fun day for Mark Herron, unfortunately.
Yeah. Was that a rage donut, was
it? Could be. That was Adam Wright, by the way, not Ben Cullen. Ben is up in ninth at the moment. This is still going on. It's been a full lap of this. Well, it's been several full laps of this. Yeah. What an excellent battle these guys have been having. And incredibly, I mean, we expect clean racing in the BSTV leagues. It's a bunch of really great drivers, but everybody makes mistakes, and these guys have been doing a really great job of keeping it neat and tidy and keeping their mistakes to only themselves and not involving somebody else.
Yeah, absolutely. My timing screen must be broken because it says that Adam Watson is in third.
Mine says that as well.
Oh.
I think something might have happened.
Oh! Yeah, I think you're right. Even the broadcast says
Yeah.
We've missed something here.
So Abdul's got another good run. I'm thinking it wasn't a slowdown for Martin. He is just getting beaten by the toe at the moment from Abdul.
Right.
And Abdul making it work around the outside again. He'll want to try and not lock up into Brussels this time. And he's defended to the inside, and that's opened the outside up to Carl Moore on Martin Verschluven. Can he hold it? Oh, that's tight. That's very, very tight, but he's held it. Martin has to go wide into the next corner. That'll be a 1X. Very close to a slowdown, I think.
I thought I was watching a replay.
No, that was live. It looked very similar to the lap before, but It is live, and Abdul is through. Sam, do we have anything on Adam Watson? Did he just lose pace, maybe?
There you have it.
Here we go.
Breaking on the grass.
Yeah.
We've all done it. Yeah.
Brussels.
Didn't you do that in the GT4 race here last season, Pete?
No comment.
Hey, I'm comparing you to Adam Watson. I think that's a compliment. So
yeah. He's as dumb as me.
Well, that is what has allowed Chris Shaw through into second place. He's still got about an 8-second gap to JVZ in the lead of the race, but setting good lap times, pretty much on pace with the leaders. The leader, I should say, now that Adam Watson's behind him.
Yeah, that gives JVZ a 7.5 second lead. Obviously, we've seen leads like that disappear very quickly in this league, although not for Ty Simons. Oh, hang on. Stuart.
So Stuart's in. Yeah, I was about to say what I don't have this week is pit stop strategy information. And I was thinking I might just pop down, do some pit lane reporting, and jump into the BSTV chat and see what they're thinking for a second.
Yeah, go for it. So,
You know what, Pete? I know Ben is listening, but we should all pop in the BSTV chat and to also have the pit reporting for everybody. You know?
can you imagine?
It could be funny.
It's a family show. We'd never get away with no swearing, so
Yeah.
it would be hilarious then.
All right, go on.
So we are 25 minutes into this race now, and it's just happening all over the place. This is Callum Mooney having a look at the back of Marco Lowert. Oh no! Oh, that's Stuart diving for pit road.
Yeah, but I have him as jump into the pits, which means he towed.
What, he's reset?
Yeah, look. Yeah, he towed. Basically. What?
I don't understand.
No fuel, not enough fuel to make it to the other side?
and quit the session.
Oh.
So maybe something in the real world has preoccupied him. Yeah.
Buckle word.
Oh, no. Oh, dear. That's expensive.
Yeah, I don't know how good are the Corvettes, but I think that's going to probably a lot of damage to the car.
Yeah, they fold like a cheap piece of paper, and you really need to get your damage fixed in that car more than the others.
The plastic side of the thing, right?
It is, yeah. It is, yeah. Bill is right in that respect. It is a plastic Ferrari that way around. Look at that underbraking from Marcel Kempenaar. That was epic. He took like half a second out of Ben. So our roving reporter has returned. Oh no, Martin!
What a time to come back.
What a indeed. He's got going again.
Yeah, that's brought Jamie Wilson, Ben Cullen, and Marcel Kempenaar right back into this battle.
Yeah, and we were just mentioning that Marcel Kempenaar under braking is phenomenal into the chicane. He doesn't need to be if his teammate's going to throw it away at La Source. Oh, he got nudged.
He didn't throw it away, no. Oh, and Abdul, very, very lucky there. But yeah, that was just Carl. It's one of those things, too, where Martin was fading back over in the braking zone, which is one of those like gray area things, right? Where it, if you have the margin to do it, as Ben was forced a little wide there. But it's one of those things where, as Carl is backing out of this one, and he's reset.
He has, and he's gone.
That's interesting. I was just going to say, it's one of those things where it's not illegal, and if you have the margin to do it, you can kind of cover off any over-under attempt. But if you kind of make that fade back to the left thinking you have margin, and the other car isn't expecting it and outbrakes themselves, then you find yourself in a situation just like they did. What's happened to Adam Watson here?
Yeah.
Nothing.
Yeah, just the off-track working a bit weird.
Just the off-track there.
Thing,
So it's just I struggle to place any blame there. probably Carl should have broken a little earlier and anticipated Martin moving over, but also, you're not really supposed to move over under the braking, so it's tough to call. But anyway, I have done some pit lane reporting.
Okay.
Got a good amount of information from Ben. Adam was not helpful, but well, no, apparently Adam did all the testing and Ben just gave me the information. But
Right.
So by their reckoning, everyone's going to have to do 2 stops. As we see Martin Verschluven pitting in right at about the half-hour mark. So it does seem like 2 stops is going to be the way to go for everybody. But yeah, so they figure the fuel is too tight to do 2 stops, to do 1 stop rather. So I think they said you can go about 16 or 17 in the Porsche, at least with the setup they're running, on a stint, which will not get you to halfway, but it will get you to a pretty short final stop. So that'll be some interesting strategy to see when people take their short stop, or if they space it out evenly, like we're seeing with Martin Verschluven. As far as tires, it sounds like they don't know. I had mentioned earlier on with the updates, I had heard that they had made the wear less, so I would have figured that double stint would be easy, but they were saying with the track as hot as it is in testing, they were getting some pretty serious wear. So They don't know what they're going to do as far as tires are concerned. I doubt really anyone in the field does, because they haven't had much time to test these tires at all. So that'll be very interesting to watch if we catch some pit stops, see who takes tires and who doesn't. But for the time being, I would expect a good amount of people to try and double stint it.
Yeah, and I think Thor Brander is Carl Moore on the chat. He says it's the second time he moved under braking and that he's just sick of it. I think. I don't know. Is it? I couldn't tell you.
Yeah, I think it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I was saying. You know, I don't mean to rag on Carl here, because I definitely understand. You know, you're not supposed to move on braking, but if it's the second time he's done it, you know, you could work on anticipating it a little bit better. But you know, it's one of those gray area things, because you know, you could argue there was a lane there, and it's tough. But I definitely feel for Carl, because you know, it certainly wasn't all his fault.
What you're saying, Tyler, is that Martin, was it Martin?
It was Martin. Yeah.
Moved left under braking to cover off the outside line. Yes.
In IndyCar, that's known as the Pruitt fade. I think Paul Tracy coined that on Scott Pruitt. Famously, would just kind of you basically. You're braking in a straight line, but that straight line is taking you slightly to the outside of the track, and it's the argument is that you're braking in a straight line, so it's, you know, by the letter of the law, it's legal.
Yeah.
But by the spirit of the rules, you know, it's not very sporting to the driver behind. Which I'm sure is what Carl is arguing there.
Yeah, and I suppose the expectation is that you are braking in a straight line in parallel with the track, as opposed to transferring your line from one to another.
Right, and that's the argument that the driver behind makes.
Yeah,
you know, yeah, exactly. So, you know, it's basically comes down to how you define moving under braking.
Yes.
And some people see it one way, and some people see it another. And you know, it's a competitive sport. As much as this is a friendly league, everyone is still, you know, kind of ultra competitive, and people look for an advantage wherever they can. And if that's going by the letter of the law instead of the spirit of the rule, you're going to see some people go for it. So I don't know. You know, I'm not one of the stewards for the league, so I don't know if a protest there would be successful. I'm sure Carl and Martin will talk that one out afterwards. But you know, it's just a tough thing.
And this is getting a bit busy here around Ben.
It sure is. Yeah.
So that's
And Ben is up
Marcel.
into 7th place. Obviously, there have been some pit stops. We've seen Martin in. Marco Lewert, we just saw pit, though he was, I think, behind Ben at this point.
He was, yes.
Now, I will take a look at pit stop times. It's going to be, it'll be tough to tell who takes tires and who doesn't because the fuel will vary. But seeing as Martin was stopped for 16 seconds and Marco was stopped for 46, I would say Marco took tires there.
Yeah, definitely.
And Martin did not. So gives you some indication of what we're looking at here for strategy. And that's kind of what I figured we'd see. Oh, that's a bit of a late move there from Ben. But Marcel tries to the outside. He's late on the brakes in behind Jamie.
Oh, dear.
Well, he wasn't clear, so that's a tough one.
Yeah.
And, you know, we are not the final arbiters of rules, but he wasn't clear and did kind of come down on Ben, but Ben did have that, you know, cheeky move over to the right on the straight too, so I think both might have some reason to be aggrieved there, as we've seen with a lot of the incidents today.
Yeah, we might see a few handbags flying about on that one. Here's 5 seconds of the leader, like we usually do for Tice.
Yeah, this time it's his teammate who we're getting 5 seconds of coverage for.
And then Stefan.
I think he's just out of the pits for his routine stop. Now, where does he come out relative to Adam and Marco, who have both stopped? That was a drive-through for Stefan. So he, I'm going to believe, is over the incident limit.
No way.
I think that's what happened. Because he did not stop in his pit box.
Stefan. What's the limit?
20, I believe.
And he's just hit 20.
Yeah, so...
Damn.
That's... even with the... So it kind of goes to show, for the people who might argue that they increased the track limits to be a bit too lenient, there's still people hitting them.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we've got some people who are close. We've also got most of the field in the pits right now. JVZ, Adam Watson, Abdullah Emery, Paul Burgess, Jamie Wilson, Callum Mooney, Andy Perks, Yaz Samai have all pit. Chris Shaw, Ben Cullen, so the BSTV cars getting good fuel mileage as usual. They've stayed out. Adam pit earlier, I believe. Marcel Kempenaar has stayed out. Marcus Bletz has stayed out.
Oh, Callum. This
way. Wide there.
Whoa.
That is a pit entry if I've ever seen one.
That's like one of mine.
Yeah, and he goes to an unsafe pit in front of.
Yeah, that I wouldn't be shocked if that is an unsafe pit entry.
Yeah.
So 4 cars have stayed out, not pit yet. That is the aforementioned Chris Shaw, Ben Cullen, Marcel Kempenaar, and Marcus Bletz. Not one specific make of cars, so it looks like the fuel saving and fuel consumption is pretty even across the 4 cars.
Yeah, there's still a very strong...
5 others, sorry. There's still a Ford in the field.
Yeah. There's still a very strong Porsche following in here, isn't there? That is the dominant car still.
Yep, yeah. And that's what the majority of the field started as, so it's not too surprising.
No.
What happened to Stuart Dick? Do we know? I've just seen that he's out of the race.
Oh. Yeah. Sorry, he quit a while ago, didn't he? He pulled over into the pits. We think it may have been a real-life distraction.
Yeah, it's when you went down pit reporting in the BSTV. Yeah.
So, how have things shaken out now that we've seen our first round of pit stops? Give you, as we see Chris Shaw, the race leader, pitting in. JVZ stays ahead of Adam Watson. Mick Muller has done well. He's up in 3rd of the cars who have pits, by far the lead AM driver. Now the problem for Mick is that he pit on lap 5, and that's going to be a stretch to make this race to the end. Obviously, we've seen guys can do well about 38 minutes on a tank of fuel. So you figure lap 5 on a 2-minute lap, 10 minutes. That's going to be awfully close for Mick Muller. He'll have to be saving pretty hard to make it to the end of this race with just the one more stop, I would think.
Yeah, I think we'll see Mick in before the end of the race again anyway.
Yeah.
Hint, hint.
Well, he's got Martin Versluven all over him here. Martin in the Ford. That was Mick not really giving Martin racing room there, I have to say.
Yeah.
Kind of ran him off the road, it looked like.
He wasn't having much. Ooh, what we're watching.
That's Chris Shaw. Yeah, so we're watching to see pit exit. And he's holding for a while. Is that what you're trying to show, Sam? Because that was Ben getting out ahead of him, I thought. Oh, no, that was Ben pulling into his pit stall. Never mind. Never mind. Ignore me.
There we go.
So that is... He's already heading downhill. And Chris Shaw still has to go through the entirety of the downhill pit lane.
No, Chris was at the end of the downhill.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
So
you're right.
nothing changed in position.
Yeah, so looking at the time in box, all of the top 3 did not take tires. In fact, I think the only driver who did take tires is Marco Lewert. So it'll be very interesting to watch Marco's lap times, see how those compare to kind of the cars he was racing with.
Deary me.
There from Martin Versluven trying to make up for lost time. Yeah, Mick taking a look back on the inside.
Just as a gentle, angry break in front of other straight before.
Yeah, a little bit. So now the question, of course, is who...
Ooh.
Yeah, so that's what we saw heading into the kink before. Yeah, that was tough. That's tough. Just about everyone is in the 21 to 23 second window on pit stops. The drivers who aren't, so these are drivers who have short filled now and will take a full pit stop later. That is Mick Muller, who we've been talking about. He's going to have to likely make 2 more stops. Martin Versluven, who went by on him, was only stopped for 16 seconds, so he's short filled. We also know he stopped right at the 30-minute mark. So he is likely splitting this race into thirds and fueling appropriately. So he probably only took enough fuel to get to the hour mark. He'll pit again and take on the rest of the fuel to get the rest of the way. Also with a shorter stop was Jamie Wilson, who was stopped for 17 seconds in box. That I'd have to believe is all about track position, because we saw Jamie's been in battles all race long. He's probably just trying to separate himself from the cars he was racing with. And then Adam Wright, who currently sits in 9th, he's done well to recover, stopped early on and only took 13 seconds of fuel. So he stopped at lap 8. He'll be, I think, good to make it on one more stop to the end of the race. But it'll be a fairly long one compared to everybody else. And that's all the drivers who short-filled. Obviously, Marco took tires. Actually, now that I'm looking at it, Ben took tires, as did Marcus Bletz. So both the VTS, or 2 of the VTS drivers, Marco Lewert, Marcus Bletz took tires. Stefan Goebbels took tires. No, Stefan Goebbels did not take tires. He's just behind his teammates. So Ben Cullen, Marco Lewert, Marcus Bletz are the 3 drivers on fresh tires. So will definitely be interesting to watch their progress back through the field.
This is going to be good from Andy Perks, I think. Or not. He backed out of that one.
I wonder if he's still a bit gun-shy after the mistake he made on Stefan Goebbels trying to pass him there.
Yeah, maybe.
A little worried about the brakes on that Porsche not being as good as he thinks they are at this track temperature.
Wonder if we'll get any tyres taken at the second stop. It's unlikely, isn't it?
Well, that's what I'm looking at. Is for the drivers who short-filled on this stop.
Woo!
So that'll be why Stefan is behind his teammates who took tires, I think.
Yeah.
That's why I was looking at the drivers who short-filled, Pete, because they'll have to take more fuel on their second stop anyway. So the delta, if they do take tires, is going to be... It's going to hurt them less because they'd have to be taking more fuel anyway. But there really aren't that many of them that did that. It's, the drivers who I would suspect might. Mick Muller might. Martin Versluven, maybe? Might. I doubt Jamie Wilson will. It's just so costly, those extra tires. The extra time for tires. Somewhere around 30 seconds to take all 4 tires. So you have to be confident that you can make that time back up on track is really what it comes down to.
Yeah, and for those watching at home, are these cars, because I don't even know, I drive them, I don't even know. Are these fuel and tyres or fuel then tyres?
They're fuel then tires.
Right,
so,
okay.
So what I'm saying there is, the drivers who have to take more fuel are already going to have a long stop.
Yeah, so they're
so it's not going to be good for your track position, basically. So you might then choose to take tires, knowing you'll be back in track position as Abdul looks to the outside of McMuller. Not going to happen this time around.
Get any closer?
No, you couldn't. And this is Adam Wright on Paul Burgess. A little bit surprised by Paul's pace, his race pace. He was solid in qualifying. I think he qualified, 4th?
Yeah.
It's now all the way down to 9th, and we've seen him passed by a number of cars on track and haven't really seen him pass anybody. Oh, that'll be a 1 extra. Abdul.
Yeah.
But he is really working on McMuller here, getting the squeeze, but sticking it up the inside anyway, and there's a nudge.
Yeah. And McMuller is sent into the stratosphere, I think.
I think he just went a little wide there. But, oh, no, you're right.
No,
He's reset.
I think he went.
Oh, gosh.
I think if we focus on Mick, it'll be a one-way ticket to the wall.
Yeah.
He's off that way.
Yeah, that's one of those. That's one of those games of chicken where nobody backs out and everybody loses.
Yeah.
It's tough to make the argument for Mick to back out of that one, but he definitely could have left Abdul more room there, and would probably still be racing. And then for Abdul, you have to know you're not going to keep it tight enough to avoid hitting the Ferrari there, and I feel like you should probably be backing out of that one and living to fight another day. But regardless, Abdul has continued on where Mick Muller is not. So
yeah.
At the moment, it's worked out for Abdul.
Yeah, it's a bit odd. Yaz is in the pits, apparently.
That may be his... No, that's his second trip down through the pit lane. And he is stopped in the box, so this is not a drive-through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No penalty.
I saw some smoke as the cars went around La Source, and I'm wondering if that was Yaz. If he's got some significant damage, potentially. No fast repairs, of course. Wait, is there a fast repair? I don't know.
I think there is.
I haven't raced in this league in long enough.
Yeah, just one. Just the one.
Okay, so just one fast repair. So perhaps Yaz had used his already. Because he has stopped in the box and has already been in there for almost a minute. So
This is AAA on Jamie now.
Yes, it was Yaz who I saw with the smoke. I don't see any front-end damage. I wonder if he just over-revved it.
Yeah.
That must be what it was. Now, where is his pit stall is the question. Because if he has to make it all the way uphill with a dying engine, he might have had to reset from the pit lane, which would be a serious problem for him. Well, it looks like he's going to limp it around. And he is back up and running, by the way. So he's gotten it repaired. Maybe took the opportunity to take some tires. I don't know. Oh, that was Marcel Kempenaar getting wide. And finally, Andy Perks gets the spot. He's been working on Marcel for a few laps. He is through now. This is Abdul and Jamie Wilson. So Jamie has played that track position play fantastically well, because not only is he up in 5th, obviously he'll have a longer stop next time, but with the battling that's gone on behind him, he has really gapped everyone behind Abdul. As we've got the dueling inset pictures, Abdul on the left and Jamie on the right. You can see Abdul in Jamie's mirror and Jamie in Abdul's windshield. So a good comparison there between the two drivers. As Adam Wright has reset to the pit lane, what's happened to our teammate?
Says he's crashed.
Yeah. So he was racing with Paul Burgess. Oh, that's hardware.
Technical,
yep. Yeah.
Very sad.
Yeah, that's a shame. When I popped in for my pit report, Adam mentioned that the time he ran wide at the end of the Kemmel Straight, he was caught off guard by people braking early in front of him. The time he spun was his own stupid mistake. So
right,
that's.
Ben's informed us that it was his headset that's failed.
Yeah, you don't want to drive without sound. And I think that might surprise some people, but if you're not sim racing regularly, or even if you are, I don't think people realize how much of the feedback they're getting is not actually coming from the steering wheel. It's coming from sound cues. Yeah. It's, to drive on the limit, you need sound. You need to know. You need to be able to hear the tires, basically, as far as when they're approaching the limit. Not to mention, shifting is something that really is difficult to do without sound. You rely so heavily on just the sound of the engine to hit your shift points. So definitely don't blame Adam for jumping out there with a headset failure. That's tough to make work, especially with almost 40 minutes to go still in this race.
Yeah, and I thought I was watching a replay of the last 5 laps, because these two have been glued together for what feels like an eternity now.
Yeah, Abdul really not letting them, Jamie get away. What is happening, though, is they're continuing to pull away from Paul Burgess and Callum Mooney behind them. I guess Adam was right in there, which probably helped increase that gap, but it just seems like Paul doesn't quite have the pace, and I'm really not sure, even when Jamie has to take his longer stop the next time around, that Paul's going to come out in front of him, much less be able to hold it to the end of the race. Just not setting the lap times that the cars in front of him are doing. Paul's last lap, a 16.3. Everyone in front of him was 15s or better, and mid-15s or better at that. So just not able to do what these guys are doing. Oh, that's a move into Brussels from Abdul. Jamie's holding strong around the outside, which sets him up well for the next corner, and Abdul just has to back out of it.
Yeah. So we've lost Mick, and we've lost Adam now. Adam's been booted by the server.
I think that'll probably be Adam restarting his PC, because it gives that message. Yeah, if it doesn't receive a signal from you in long enough. And Mick, having his issues, has promoted Callum Mooney to the lead of AM, ahead of Andy Perks and Marcel Kempenaar. They're all in a line on track. They're not all together. Callum's got about 4 seconds over Andy Perks, but Marcel, as we've seen, is right with Andy, and those two have been battling for a while.
Here goes Abdul again. He's on the wrong side for this, I think.
Yes, he is. But Jamie will have to lift more than he'd like here to make this corner. It's not as... Ooh, yeah. And you saw that wiggle there from Jamie.
Yeah, massive.
Yeah, he has to defend into the bus stop. But Abdul doesn't quite have it set up. We'll see if he can get the over-under here. But again, that puts him on the wrong side for LaSource. So solid defending from Jamie. Abdul doing everything he can right now to try and make that pass happen, but not for the moment.
No, and giving each other room to do all this. Oh, that's a good run, though. Is it? Oh, no. That was just the camera angle. Jamie retains the position again. Always makes me blink.
It's just a reflex, that, isn't it?
Yeah.
Abdul now has a good run, jumps to the outside of Jamie. Not the side you want to be on, but we've seen Abdul make this pass work, as have others. if he can get the braking right, but that BMW just seems a little quicker in a straight line, and Abdul can't get the overlap. He'll need to hang it around the outside. Jamie hangs on for yet another sequence of corners. And it's interesting that we didn't see Jamie defend that time around, because that's the same thing Abdul did the lap before into Brussels, but Jamie knows from the lap before as well that if he can hold on around the outside of Brussels, he has the inside line for the next 3 or 4 corners.
Yep.
So that's just solid racecraft there from Jamie Wilson, and you wouldn't expect anything less from him, or from Abdul for that matter. These are two really talented race drivers, and really thoughtful race drivers, guys who, are thinking all the way through, know where to position their cars, know how to defend effectively and attack effectively, which is what makes this battle so entertaining.
Yeah, and I'll run through the top 5 again for a different reason. So your leader is JBZ still. He's got a 7-second lead over Chris Shaw. JBZ drives a Corvette. Chris drives a Ferrari.
And sorry, Pete, Adam Watson is in the pit lane. So this is probably the earliest you can pit and make it to the end, I would expect. So Adam Watson doing the, sort of kind of off strategy while staying with the strategy that everyone's with. You take your pit stop as early as you can just to try and do something different, set yourself apart from the cars in front of you. So he is taking fuel only, definitely. No, sorry, he hasn't stopped in his box yet. I'm looking at his time.
Yes, carrying on with that. So Adam obviously drives a Porsche. Martin Verschluven was in 4th. He drives a Ford, and Jamie Wilson in 5th drives a BMW. So top 5 places, 5 different manufacturers. Crazy.
Yeah, and hats off to iRacing, of course, as well. With the last BOP update, seems like they've got it pretty well in line as this battle continues. This is not a replay, Pete, I promise. Now Abdul trying the outside around Brussels, so he's seen what Jamie... And this is exactly what I was talking about. Two really smart guys as far as racecraft is concerned. Abdul's seen Jamie do exactly this with his defense, set himself up for this corner. Now Abdul didn't get as good a run through Brussels as I think he would have liked, but he does have the inside line for the double left-hander if he can stay alongside Jamie. And now Jamie's giving him quite a bit more room than Mick Muller did, and Abdul is using it to great effect. Now Jamie's got the inside line for the next series of corners.
It's like formation driving.
It's great stuff. And that is just two guys who know exactly how to do it, putting on a show for everybody. They're doing a really, really good job here. And it makes for a great broadcast.
Certainly does. Bit of a run here for AAA, but he's on the wrong side here again.
Yeah, it's been a lot of that, hasn't there?
Yeah.
And it's just... Yeah, he just hasn't been able to make it work yet. But what we saw from him last time through Brussels, if he can make that stick for the second lap in a row, I think he'll be in good shape, because he'll have a better sense of where he needs to be braking to get that line through Brussels. Of course, Jamie Wilson will have seen exactly what he did, and will presumably have come up with a different way to defend against it. So this is what we love to watch. Just really excellent tactical racing from these two. And, you get a little bit of incident from the drivers ahead of you, and this is a battle for a podium.
It is, and just in the background looming, Paul Burgess is creeping towards them a little.
Yeah, I was hating on Paul earlier because his pace wasn't quite there, but with these two battling, he's picked it up and is closing back in. He was doing 16s before, but the last couple of laps he's done, I've seen in the 15s. So obviously he's found a little bit of something. Maybe he was just saving his tires earlier, I'm not sure. Probably planning to not take tires on the final stop, so it definitely is something you want to be considerate of. As it looks like Abdul's not quite as close to Jamie this time around. Not going to make an attempt through Brussels. But yeah, you're absolutely right, Pete. Paul, I'm sure, is loving this because it's bringing him right back into the fight for a top 5.
Yeah, and just to whip through the top 5 for AM, because we've not visited that for a while. Callum Mooney is your AM leader at the moment. He's in 7th place overall, but he's first in AM. Marcel Kempenaar is in 2nd in AM. Not too far behind Callum. Andy Perks, who we've seen a few times, is in 3rd. Stefan Goebel is in 4th, and Yas Samai is in 5th. He's a lap down from these guys, and is just behind this little train. Marcus Bletz has been in the pits, I think, for a while.
No, he's just entered the pits and entered his box. What I wanted to point out, Pete, is Adam Watson was stopped for 39 seconds, which means he definitely took tires on his second stop. So the question is that something we see from everybody, or is that Adam trying something different? Obviously, this top 3 had a pretty decent gap. I don't think taking tires is going to hurt him all that much. He'll probably come out between Paul Burgess and Callum Mooney. So we'll only have, considering he was in 3rd before he pit, and we expect that Martin and Jamie will have to take somewhat longer stops. At most, I would say he's going to come out in 6th and only have to get through 3 cars to be back where he was.
Yeah, Adam's just posted the fastest last sector of anybody this race.
Yes, so that's what caught my eye and made me look at his pit stop time.
Right.
So definitely taking tires. Marcus Bletz had a very short pit stop. He took tires the first time around. He was one of the 3 that did. So that obviously has allowed him a very short second stop. We'll see where that shakes out with everybody once they've completed their second stops.
Wonder if these two have noticed that someone attached a bungee cord between them before the race started.
Yeah, they've really been going at it for quite a while here. And it's kind of opposing races, really. Jamie is up a huge number of spots. He did not have a good qualifying effort, but has just been steadily marching his way forward. And Abdul has really kind of just maintained. Currently sits in 5th. That's where he started. We saw the asymmetric guys get a good start, but then, kind of drop back a little bit. We saw them lose spots to Chris Shaw after his recovery, Martin Verschluven. Just, not really making any forward progress. So, obviously, their pace is very similar between these two, but 2 very different races up till this point.
Yeah, we've yet to see the big deluge for the second pit stop, haven't we? There's only a handful that's gone in so far.
The one I'm a bit surprised about is Martin Verschluven. I would have expected him in last time. I'd be very surprised if he's not in this time around, because he pit on lap, or right around the half-hour mark, and did not take as much fuel as everyone else. So he's really only fueled until this lap or next. Jamie Wilson is in, so he's splitting this last stint in half. Which we expected. He was another one who had a shorter pit stop time the first time around. So he probably could have gone a few more laps than Martin because he was in a few laps later than Martin. But this, I would imagine, is a strategic thing. He knows he's been losing time battling with Abdul, so, take yourself out of the fight, take your pit stop. And knowing it's going to have to be a little longer than Abdul, see if you can't put some quick laps in clean air before he makes his stop to try and continue that battle after this sequence.
It's almost not worth him taking tyres, is it, either? Because with being
no,
so
I wouldn't
close,
say it is at this point. Yeah, unless he knows where his tire wear is at and he's not going to make it to the end, I wouldn't think it's a good time to take tires, especially because he can probably or potentially hold off Adam Watson as well on new tires. He was probably the furthest ahead of those cars that didn't take tires last time. So it will be interesting to see. I'll be watching his pit time and let you know what it looks like. But I would be a little bit surprised if Jamie Wilson takes tires, I have to say.
Yeah.
Also in the pits, Marco Lewert, Stefan Goebel, the VTS duo. Wouldn't expect them to be taking tires. Well, certainly not Marco. He took tires the last time around. Stefan may, as he did not. Jamie Wilson's back out, by the way, 19-second stop, so he did not take tires. He has lost the spot to Adam Watson, though, so was a little off on my estimate there. But no tires for Jamie Wilson. We'll see where that pops him back out with respect to Abdul and Paul. Presuming they probably... the only driver who stopped who had not... who had filled up last time was Marcus Bletz. He took about 10 seconds worth of fuel. If that's the case, that will give about a 9-second difference between the asymmetric cars and Jamie Wilson. So definitely some gap to close, but we know Jamie was quick.
I think Martin has just pitted as well. What are we watching? JVZ. So this is your race leader.
Yeah.
Doing some good, clean laps to keep himself at the front. He's got a 8.5-second lead nearly.
I figure these guys, and JVZ especially, would be running his fuel till it's dry, and that would probably take him to about the 1 hour and 10-minute mark or so. These guys stopped a lap earlier than the Chris Shaw, Ben Cullen. Who else was it that was in later? I think the VTS guys as well, who stopped a little bit later, but they're already been in. So here is now Martin Versleven has stopped in his box, so going to be watching to see if his is a tires or no tires stop. His is another, though, who did not fill it the first time through, so would expect about a 20-ish second stop, similar to Jamie Wilson here. And indeed it is, 18.5 stopped in the box, so no tires for Martin, and he continues on his merry way, looking for that podium. We'll see where he comes out with respect to Adam Watson, who we know took tires.
Way
well
ahead.
ahead, but again, the difference between tires and no tires is not insignificant, so will Adam be able to close in on Martin before this race is over? There you see the gap down the Kemmel Straight as Adam just appeared around the corner. That should be the battle for the final step of the podium when all is said and done with pit stops. There's your AM leader, Callum Mooney, working his way down the back half of the track. He's got about 2.5 seconds over Marcel Kempenaar. That's come down slightly from where it was earlier in the stint. Callum, Marcel, Andy Perks in that AM battle. Andy's actually lost out quite a bit to Marcel, so not sure if something happened there, or Marcel's just got the pace over Andy at this stage in the race. They'll all be taking about a similar length of pit stop next time, so wouldn't expect that to have a dramatic effect on this battle. There is the lone surviving BSTV yellow car. That's Ben Cullen after Adam's troubles. Actually, Adam is continuing on, I should say. He's just several laps down at this point.
Yep, there's Adam. Chasing down. Who is that in front of him?
Oh, that is Adam. Sorry.
Yeah.
I was confused because Ben is not far behind that battle on track. He's chasing down Andy Perks at the moment. But yes, that was Adam in behind Marcel Kempenaar, so not for position. There's Andy Perks. So Ben has taken tires, but has not made his final stop yet. He's given Andy Perks a flash there. I don't know why.
I think he's flashing at us.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. He knows when we're talking about him.
Yeah.
So
Nothing better for him to do than that.
Yep. But yeah, he'll be looking, I think probably, as we know, points are paid out for your overall finishing position, not in class. So even though Ben is not battling the 3 cars in front of him for class position, that does count for points. So he'll be wanting to get through, if he can, those 3 AM drivers before this race is over. And presumably his fresher tires will help him do that.
JVZ starting on to his 34th lap, I think this will be. Although no, it'll be his 33rd, won't it? That's right. With a 9-second lead.
31st lap.
First lap.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, would expect him in. Probably not this lap. Probably the next one. Maybe a little more if he's been pacing himself. But yeah, within the next couple of laps, I would expect to see JVZ, and Chris Shaw can go a little bit farther. Don't know if he will, but he went a lap longer on the first stint, so could probably do 2 more on this stint.
Ben's found himself an Andy Perks pretty quickly there. Oh, and Andy's gone to
the pit lane, which is good news for Ben. He can keep on rolling. Ben also did the extra lap last time around, so would expect him to stay out for a couple more. And as we've mentioned, on fresh tires, which nobody in front of him is, so he does have that ace in the hole. There is the AM leader, Callum Mooney, and Marcel Kempenaar is getting bigger in his rearview mirror. Marcel's cut that gap down in chunks the last few laps, I have to say. So Callum has held this lead for a little while, pretty much since Mick Muller had his troubles, but in danger of potentially losing it to Marcel Kempenaar before they even make their final pit stops.
And for the folks at home, that's Chris Shaw in front, who's on a recovery drive after a technical issue.
And by Chris Shaw, Pete, of course, means Adam Wright.
Sorry, Adam.
That other BSTV esports driver. Chris Shaw is doing just fine in second place for those Chris Shaw fans who might have been concerned by Pete's last statement.
Yes.
He has had a pretty quiet drive, to be honest. Obviously, he had that off-track moment early on that set him back and kind of took him out of the battle for the lead, it seems. And he's really just been kind of calmly riding in second and not really making a dent into the lead that JVZ has. In fact, it's gone the other way. It's up near almost 10 seconds now.
Yeah, he's stretching it out now. And he's gone around again.
Yeah, there you see it. JVZ continuing to grow the gap to Chris Shaw, almost a second over the last 5 laps. So not slowing down by any means is the Paceworks driver.
Yeah, I think the fight for AM leader is going to be on in about a lap and a half, don't you?
I think it's going to be on in less than that. Marcel Kempenaar is there. Callum Mooney has really been struggling for pace at the end of this stint. I wouldn't be shocked to see Callum take some tires on his pit stop, because he has just not had the pace at the latter half of this stint that Marcel Kempenaar has had. And you've only got to believe it's going to get worse after the pit stop full of fuel with tires that'll be continuing to wear. It helps, though, that Marcel is setting pace that is up there with everyone but the race leaders, a 15.7 right last time around, where Callum Mooney had a 16.5. That's been pretty much what it's been. Now, the other driver that was in this battle, Andy Perks, did not take tires. So that'll be something for Callum to consider. Obviously, both asymmetric or am-symmetric drivers there. So whether or not they're in communications with each other, they'll probably know what's going on. And we'll see if that affects the strategy calls at all. The leader is in, as we expected, another 16-lap stint. Chris Shaw, also as we expected, stays out for another one.
Yeah, and he assumes the lead of the race for now. Andy, am I right in thinking Andy Perks was with Marcel and Callum before he pitted, wasn't he?
No, he was. No? For a lot of that stint, he was battling Marcel, but Marcel had gapped him to the tune of about 6 seconds before that pit stop.
Okay.
That's where it stood before he came in, as Abdul peels off from third on track. So the gap to watch here will be to
Jamie.
Martin Versluven, Adam Watson, and Jamie Wilson, who are not quite together on track, but that's where those two fall in that battle will have a lot of effect on the end of this race. So all the asymmetric Porsches are headed for the pits. Marcel Kempenaar will stay out for an extra lap. Clearly the tires on that Corvette are going strong as he continues to lap at pretty quick pace. Oh no!
What happened there?
Contact between the asymmetric teammates in the pits.
We've got to see that again because I don't understand how that could even happen.
Oh, they've thrown away a top 5 for both of them.
So what happened here?
Oh,
dear.
It was still all on his own, and Paul got caught up in it.
Just blocked track. Well, he didn't.
Yeah,
he
was
got.
trying to get away for Paul.
I've never seen that.
But that'll have taken both of their chances at a top 5 in this race out the window.
Yeah,
what a disaster for asymmetric.
For Abdul, that'll be a massive tow because it doesn't take into account that you're only, I don't know, 20 yards away from your pit box, does it?
Oh, that's a bit cruel to cut to Abdul's inset at the moment.
Oh dear.
Poor guy. That's a tough. We've all made those little mistakes that ultimately cost us big time, and Abdul is not a happy camper.
No, he's got. I wouldn't like to turn on a microphone in that room right now.
Well, if he's streaming right now, we probably do have a microphone on in that room that we can listen to. But no, you're right. I wouldn't really want to. That's tough for anybody.
It is. Yeah.
Actually, Abdul was having a really strong race and was looking. Should things have gone wrong with the drivers in front of him, he had a chance at a top 5 or better. But he's back out now, still in the top 10. Obviously, the tow wouldn't have been that long because, it was from pit lane. But any tow hurts anytime you're basically adding free time to a pit stop is not going to be enjoyable. So the leader right on the back of Marcel Kempenaar. Marcel, this is for position. Marcel has stayed out for a couple extra laps now. Chris Shaw is in the pit lane, though, yep. And Ben Cullen makes his way down. So the BSTV team pitting in sequence once again. Now, the interesting thing to me, Pete, is that Adam Watson has really not been able to close that gap to Martin Verschluven. So either Martin has been very kind to his tires, or the difference has been perhaps a bit blown out of proportion. And there's really not that much of a difference between fresh and old rubber. And it stands about 5 seconds, which is really not that much less than it was when those two came out of the pits.
No, and these cars can go for quite a long way before you need to put new shoes on them. But we've seen it from the Ford before and from the Corvette before. They appear to be kinder to the tyres. It has a lot to do with the person behind the wheel, obviously. But generally, they don't scrub the tyres as much as the Porsche or the BMW. Whether that's changed in the new build, I'm not sure.
Yeah, neither of us have driven it since the update, so it's hard to say for sure. But now, of course, the big winner in all of the asymmetric pit drama is Jamie Wilson, who finds himself in 5th place, where he probably would have expected to be behind both of those two drivers. Well, he's in 6th right now, 5th in class, and he'll be 5th overall once Marcel Kempenaar's made his way down pit lane for the final time. But yeah, Jamie Wilson, a little bit of luck, but some solid strategy as well. To take that short stop early and get himself some track position has really paid off here. And he's looking at a pretty solid top 5. He's got 3 seconds or so, actually almost 4 seconds over Paul Burgess. So we'll see how that plays out in the remaining just about 12 minutes.
Fairly faultless drive here from JVZ, so I've probably cursed him now. He'll probably pile it into a wall, but very professional. Obviously standing in for Tice. Hey, there's controversy for you.
Yeah, well, now it seems that he has inherited Tice's dominant performances The question is, though, are we sure it's not Tice driving for JVZ at the moment? Maybe trying to help the team in the championship. No, JVZ is plenty quick in his own right, and missed a couple races, so I'm not sure he's in the championship fight anyway. But everyone in that Paceworks stable can compete for wins. It's just Tice has had the measure of the field so far in this series.
Yeah, JVZ is in 10th in the pro standings at the moment, so he's got a mile to go. Although this race will elevate him definitely above AAA. I don't think he'll... he'll take a few positions after this if he stays where he is.
Yeah, it's... if you miss a few races but you're quick enough, eventually you'll start working your way forward. But definitely, probably not in contention for the championship unless Tice misses a few more rounds. So now we have a... it's not a battle, but Ben Cullen has been elevated ahead of Abdul with his pit trouble, which means more points for Ben, which is great for the BSTV guy, especially on a day when Adam isn't contributing so much to the team points, but still running around in 16th, so he'll get some points for that for sure. And Ben up into 9th, about 4 seconds off the battle we see on screen right now between Callum Mooney and Marcel Kempenaar. There he is in the back of the shot, so definitely not out of reach, though 10 minutes to close in 4 seconds is not the easiest thing to do.
No, was that Callum overtaking Marcel, or was that them just vying for position? I couldn't really tell.
It should be them vying for position. Believe Marcel came out of the pits behind Callum, but I'm not certain on that. Sam says yes.
He's a bit wild going in there, and a bit wide coming out of it for Marcel.
Yeah, that's one of those places that have really benefited from the new track limits, because it kind of used to tighten up really aggressively on exit, and you weren't sure where it did. You could get a 1x easy there, trying to open up the entry to the right-hander. But with the new track limits, you can open it up as much as you like, pretty much. Marcel is good on the brakes in that Corvette. He really closed down on Callum hard, but not close enough to make an overtake attempt yet.
And a bit sharper through the chicane, as well as being good on the brakes there. So he's pulled in 2/10 in just one corner there.
Yeah, Marcel definitely seems the quicker of the two now, and he seemed that way before the pit stops as well. We saw Callum struggling. It seemed we had seen Adam go through on him, though he was a lap down. Oh, that's nearly wide for Marcel there. But he kept the tires on the curb, so that should have been all right. Callum with a big defense, trying to break the toe. Marcel thinks better of making a lunge there, but that was quite the run through Radion for Marcel. He was hanging on, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
And Callum is clearly in full defense mode right now. He's not not worried about anything in front of him. Paul Burgess about 7 seconds up the road, so not in play really. All Callum is focused on right now is maintaining this AM class win. Ahead of these two, though, Paul Burgess has been able to close just a little bit on Jamie Wilson, I believe. That gap is now under 3 seconds between the two of them. So I don't know that it's over for the final spot in the top 5 in this race either, though he'll have to close a little bit more in the next 7 minutes to secure that spot, will Paul Burgess.
Yeah, it is reducing, and it's reducing fairly well for him, to be honest. I think he'll be visiting Jamie Wilson very soon.
Yeah, similar tires on those two cars, so it's not a tire advantage for Paul. But we did mention how he seemed to be saving his tires a little bit while Jamie was battling hard with Abdul. So
Yeah.
obviously, I don't think Abdul was thinking about helping out his teammate in that moment, but it may end up becoming a factor before this is over, with Paul benefiting from it.
Well, I'm getting a full earful of car left and a good
Yeah,
cut.
and that's exactly how you do that at La Source if you're Marcel Kempenaar. Callum defending, and you say, all right, I will go deep and I will cut back early and get the run into Eau Rouge, and that's exactly what he did. Callum hanging on, though. He might have a run at the end of the straight here. In fact, he might have a run before that.
Defensive from Marcel.
Yeah, nothing illegal about it, though. He took that line before Callum popped out, so just good defending there. And Callum sending it around the outside. He's going to get this, I think. Oh,
good overtake.
Closes the door on Marcel Kempenaar. Cleanly done and excellently held from Callum Mooney. But I don't think Marcel is done yet, do you, Pete?
No. No, this is going to carry on. Don't forget, this is for the top spot in AM, folks. It's all to play for. Looking forward. Paul Burgess has not made any more inroads into Jamie Wilson's lead over him.
Yeah, as soon as we started talking about it, it stabilized at 2.5 seconds. So don't know that that's going to happen, especially as these laps wind down. Probably only 3 more for these drivers as it stands.
And Marcel seems to have dropped right off the back of Callum now.
Yeah, that's a bit interesting. Maybe used up all of what he had or made a mistake somewhere that we didn't notice.
Yeah.
But you're right, he has dropped back just a little bit. Maybe just cooling down the tires for one last stab at it.
Yeah, because you're right, there'll be a couple of laps left, won't there? But not a lot more.
Yeah, I think JVZ is far enough ahead. These guys will get 3 more laps. But that'll be it, which is, as long as Spa is, that's really not all that much.
Yeah.
And Marcel will be wanting to make something happen. And, as we've mentioned, points matter on your overall finishing position, and Ben is charging hard and closing down on these two. He might have a say in this before it's all said and done.
I mean, he's only 1.7 seconds behind, so...
And last time around, he was over a second quicker than both of them, almost 2 seconds quicker than Marcel. So Ben definitely has the pace right now on those slightly fresher tires, trying to make something happen.
This is... maybe they are fighting. I thought... Because Andy Perks has been behind Abdul for quite a long time. I thought he was just getting a toe off him, but that was a bit of defensive driving, so maybe they are going at it. Obviously, stablemates.
Yeah.
Not in the same team, obviously, and not even in the same class, because AAA is a pro class driver and Andy is an AM class driver.
Yeah, it's worth noting... I believe, Pete, that pit incident we saw between Paul and Abdul, those two are teammates, and I believe that is the asymmetric team that is leading the team standings. So
it is, yeah.
That was very costly for them. Obviously, Tice not being here is going to help as far as holding that gap over Paceworks is concerned, but that could prove detrimental to their team standings.
Yeah, Ben's closed hugely and very visibly now. They're about equidistant from one another here. JVZ has got himself a 13-second lead now. Chris Shaw has got a 20-odd second lead over Martin Verschluven. And again, Ben was half a second faster than the cars in front of him last time round.
Yeah, this is definitely not done. Sam, do we know where JVZ is? If he's going to get one more lap out of this? Yeah, he is.
Yep. Into the chicane.
Yeah, so with that trio really just starting the lap, they have almost 2 more before this race is over. JVZ will be getting the white flag here. He's got 15 seconds now over Chris Shaw, so that race is pretty much done, barring a massive mistake on JVZ's part. This is the battle for the podium is not over either.
No, where's this come from?
Yeah, well, so we knew Adam Watson had fresh tires. It seemed for a while there like he wasn't closing the gap to Martin Verschluven, but that must have started coming down recently. Yeah, so that'll be presumably Martin getting to the end of those tires' life. Now, Sam is whispering hush hush that Adam might be borderline on incidents, but it's not stopping him from attacking Martin Verschluven here. There you see the white flag waving. Oh, and something's happened to Marcel.
Oh, no.
Is that self-induced or not? I don't see any damage on the car.
I don't think he was near enough to anybody, was he?
Oh,
No.
just sailed it in on the brakes, and that's given Ben Cullen a spot, up to 8th overall.
He says thank you very much.
Yes, he does. Now this is Adam around the outside of Martin and gets it done. That is fresh tires for you. Nothing really Martin could do there. And he will drop back into 4th. Adam looks well on his way to a podium position.
Oh, is he?
Oh, is he? Now that won't help your tire situation. Oh.
I mean, that was close as well.
Yes, it was. But hangs on to it for now.
Don't know where to look, because...
And on top of all this, Paul Burgess is now within a second and a half of Jamie Wilson. So it's all coming together right as the race is coming to a close. JVZ, I believe, is about to cross the line. There he is, coming out of the final corner.
Watch the light.
Dominant performance from JVZ today.
Tremendous victory for Josham.
Yeah, you wait half a minute, we'll see Chris Shaw crossing the line as well. There he is.
There we go.
Half a minute. Quarter of a minute, I suppose. But he crosses the line as well. The Adam Watson, Martin Verschluven battle going on behind them. Looks like Adam's got it as they head into the final braking zone. As long as he keeps the car under him on throttle here, which he has done. But is the start-finish line past the source? No. Okay.
No,
just the
it's
standing line.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, Jamie Wilson, Paul Burgess, I see, are right together. They're headed into the final corner. Paul is not quite close enough, but he really put the hammer down those last few laps to try and make something happen. But Jamie, running an excellent race, hangs on to secure that spot. Kellen Mooney there, coming home to take the AM-Class win. Ben Cullen not quite able to pick up that one more spot for the points, but nevertheless comes home 7th in Pro.
Marcel Campanard takes the second step on the AM podium. Of course, we've got to see if anybody's got any penalties to carry over.
Of course. Presumably, rather dejected Abdul El Amri still manages to come home with a top 10, but I think he knows it probably could have been a little bit better. Yeah, as we wait for the final few cars to cross the line, I'm just keeping an eye on the results tab to see if there's anybody who suddenly drops down through the order. But at the moment, everything looking good. Stefan Goebel looks like he'll be the last car to finish.
Or Adam. I can't see where Adam is on the track at the moment.
You're right.
He's still
No,
going.
Adam hasn't. I think Adam's right up ahead of him.
He's
Yes,
just
he
in
is.
front. Yes, he is. Yeah.
So these two will cross the line.
Kudos to Adam for carrying on after all his technical difficulties.
Yep. 16th place points aren't great, but they're better than last.
Yeah.
So.
And that is everybody over the line. So we'll have to wait for the session to tick over. Ooh,
Adam Watson is showing as P9. So Adam was over the incident limit, as Sam suspected he might have been. And he gives the final step of the podium to Martin Verschluven. Looks like the asymmetric guys are going for a class photo. Or maybe some team donuts.
Yeah. Callum's definitely celebrating this one.
Yeah, he is a happy camper.
And rightly so. So, do you want to run through that first 10 or 12 or so, and I'll carry on the bottom of the list?
Sure. So there are your results for GTCC Round 7 at Spa. Joachim van Zwijlen, your race winner for Paceworks Esports Holland. Chris Shaw bringing it home second for BSTV Esports Green, carrying the team because I don't feel like racing. Martin Verschluven for Dutchies Esports Alpha comes home in third after the penalty to Adam Watson. So 3 different teams on the 3 steps of the podium. And continuing that trend, as we go a little further down, Jamie Wilson for Team Chimera comes home in 4th. Paul Burgess 5th for Asymmetric. Callum Mooney, your AM class winner for Amsymmetric. Ben Cullen for BSTV Esports Yellow brings it home in 7th, 6th in Pro. Marcel Kempenaar for Dutchies Esports Charlie is 2nd in Am and 8th overall. Adam Watson, after his penalty, comes home in 9th for Paceworks Esports Holland. Abdul Al Amri, after his really unfortunate pit road incident, comes home in 10th, 8th in Pro for Asymmetric. Andy Perks for Amsymmetric comes home in 11th. Marcus Bletz, Marco Lewert, and Stefan Goebel for VTS Red, and VTS Yellow, respectively, come home 12th, 13th, and 14th. You want to take it from there, Pete?
Yeah, sure. 15th was Yaz Samai for Amsymmetric. 16th was Adam Wright for BSTV Esports Yellow after his technical difficulties. And then we've got the non-finishers, as far as I understand it. We've got Mick Muller for Black Box Sim Racing. Then Carl Moore for Paceworks. Just blown up a bit after having some water. Then Stuart Dick for Asymmetric was recorded 19th. 20th, Mark Heron for Amsymmetric. For Dutchies Esports Alpha, Larry DeLonge finished 21st. 22nd was Stein Hendricks for Dutchies Gaming. Jonathan Foote for Paceworks Esports finished 23rd. 24th was Matt Snook for Team Black Diamond. And then Brendan Lennox, I'm not sure he started. Did he start? No, he didn't. And that is your field. So, yeah, Adam Watson, too many incidents and adjusted before the end of the race. Or at the end of the race, I should say. So, although he finished 3rd, he officially finished in 9th. Let's see if we have anybody queuing at the moment. Trying to find them. There they are. Yeah, there's quite a few in there. A fascinating race in terms of tactics. Some bizarre incidents in there, particularly for AAA. Very unfortunate. And I think that's changed the landscape of the championship quite a lot. Although I don't think Tice is going to feel very threatened by what's happened today.
No, I don't think he will. If he misses another, he might start to to worry a little bit. But at some point, when you win enough races, it doesn't matter if you drop a couple. Tice has been pretty dominant, but some really standout performances from drivers who have had some not as many standout performances so far this season. So really, really good race, some really excellent racing as well. The battle in the middle between Abdul and Jamie was just outstanding.
Yeah, that was crazy good. I've not seen that for quite a long time. Probably the last time I saw it was also Jamie, but with somebody else. It was Gary, wasn't it, in the TCR? They were together for lap after lap after lap. That was excellent. So we'll start with the interviews. I'll bring in our race winner for you, Tyler. So if I've pressed all the right buttons, you should have JVZ.
Hello. Congratulations on your, dominant performance is the only way to put it. I'm afraid to say you got the Ty Simon treatment today, which is to say that we barely showed you at all. But that's unfortunately what you get when you just put a hurting on the whole field. So what was it that put you over the top today, besides Tice not being here?
I think mainly the car change. Of course, I drove the BMW before, and I changed to the Corvette for this race. And yeah, just the BOP of iRacing made it really good. So that helped. The setup was really good, so I could just copy the times of Shaw behind and save my tires a bit. So yeah.
Yeah, we noted the BOP as well, because at some point in the race there were all five different cars in the top 5, which was pretty impressive. But certainly it seemed like you had a little bit of an edge. How much time have you put in since the update on this car to work on the setup for it?
I think about 6-7 hours to test. I also tested the Ferrari, but I didn't like it. But the Corvette is just really strong, and it's clearly the superior car at the moment. I'm actually surprised that not more people changed to it. So yeah.
Yeah, fair enough. Well, hard to argue with the performance you had there today. It was a good. It seemed like once you and Adam got the good start and broke away. Was that coordinated at all between the two of you?
Yeah.
Or was it just?
Yeah. It was really important to keep Shaw behind the first straight, because his top speed was insane. So yeah, I was talking to Adam when I was going, and he could jump Shaw. And then it was really close at the first corner after a rouge. Shaw outbroke himself, I think, but
Yep.
yeah, it was all right, and I could keep going, and drove away at the end.
Excellent. Well, really, again, impressive performance today. Joachim, do you have anyone you'd like to give a shout out to before we let you go?
Yeah, of course, to Thijs. It's unfortunate that he couldn't race. I would have loved to battle with him. He worked on setup as well, so thanks to him. To Adam, it's a shame he got the penalty in the end. But yeah, that's just how it is. And of course, you guys for broadcasting this race.
Fantastic. Well, thanks so much for joining us in the booth, and congratulations once again on your round 7 race win, JVZ.
Yeah, thank you. Bye-bye.
I got that in before I flushed him. Okay. That was an imperious result from JVZ. And he managed to do one over on Chris Shaw. Chris, did you have any downforce on that car at all?
Only a little bit.
Only a little bit. Yeah, just one little turn.
Just to stop it from lifting off.
Yeah, you were rapid down that straight. My word, you were just eating into people's leads and all sorts. Great race. What do you think you needed in order to take it to JVZ, or was he just a bit too good today? Because we saw you with an incident on lap 1. You kind of got done at the start with their coordinated attack, as it were, when they launched. But was there anything that you could have done?
Looking back, more downforce.
Right.
It was quick, but it was sliding so much it just burnt through tyres.
Right.
And then in the last sort of half of the race, I was just getting further and further off the pace. and it was just getting harder and harder to drive. I'm absolutely dripping in sweat right now. It was horrific.
It is quite warm in the UK for once, so yeah. Unless
Yeah.
you've got an aircon unit, then you're going to be.
I do. Well, I have a fan. It's the crappiest thing ever, but oh well.
Yeah, it's a bit Betty, isn't it, when you get
Yeah.
like that? But your pit lane strategy worked well because you didn't lose any time in those sequences. Did you take tyres? I can't remember what
I
Tyler
didn't
said
know.
now. No, I don't think you did.
I was thinking about it, but I
Did
thought
you-
if I do, I'm just going to end up in the middle of the pack again, and then
Yeah,
I'm just gonna
fighting
have
your
to
way
fight
free of
through
it. Yeah. And did it feel like you're on jelly?
At the end, yeah, it was horrible. It really was.
Yeah, we're just watching a slow-mo of the start of the race, and
Oh, no.
yeah,
Yeah, it was.
you filter backwards, as it were.
Well, I braked as late as I dared to get past Adam again, and then just as I got in towards the apex, it just pinched the front right, and
Yeah.
at that point, I knew I was either going to go straight into JVZ or I had to just lift off and just accept that I was going to go straight on.
Yeah,
So
that's
I thought
exactly as Tyler
better
called
took
it.
the
funnily enough.
second,
Yeah.
took the second option and avoided the contact, but yeah. I braked as late as I dared, and as it just got into the apex where I just started turning, it just pinched it, and I had nothing of a choice really. But
Yeah, especially on cold tires because they do come out slightly warm, don't they? In this class.
well, these I don't know if they've updated the heat cycling on them, but on the first lap and first and second lap, they're a lot quicker than I think they used to be. And then
Right.
after the first lap, it has a huge drop off. Like you'll lose a second after the first lap, and then it will
Wow.
equal out. So in qualifying, there's no point doing more than one lap because if you do more than one, you're instantly going to lose a second on the next lap. So
That's
it
a
was-
crazy situation.
well, yeah, I've realised it in practice before this. I was going through everyone's times, noticing that everyone near enough was losing a second after their first lap.
Right.
So there was literally no point doing more than it, and I didn't know if the drop off was going to continue or not, or if it was going to equal out because I'd only done about a run of 6 or 7 laps at once for practice. So I'd done like 5 or 6 and knew it was going to drop off after the first one, but I didn't know how bad it got.
Mm-hmm.
So I sort of just guessed it and just went with what I had. But yeah,
Well,
it was
definitely worked. Yeah, definitely worked for you.
Yeah.
Second tonight's going to do you no harm at all in the league. It'll certainly hack away at Tice's lead, even though his lead is monstrous. It has to be said.
Yeah.
Anybody you'd like to have a shout out to before we let you go and celebrate your second place and go and get a shower? Because I can smell you from here at the minute.
If you don't want to be here either. Yeah, it was just a JVC for putting up such a brilliant race and qualifying as well. I can't believe how close we were on time. And yeah, it was fantastic work from him. I was hoping for a mistake, but it didn't happen. And then obviously you guys for hosting the whole thing because I'm enjoying this series more and more.
Yeah, it's a good series. It has to be said. Very, very competitive, and the caliber of driver is immense.
Yeah, it is. It's getting harder and hard.
Where are you? Where is this going next time? I can't even remember now. I'm the
I'm not
worst
sure.
commentator ever. I just don't know what I'm doing. Interlagos, between the lakes for you boys next time
Yeah.
out on the 27th of June. So,
I don't know if that's a Ferrari track or not. Probably not, to be honest.
no idea. The Corvette was good the last time I drove it around there, but I don't think it's the same car as the last time I drove it. So,
No.
we'll have to wait and see. But no, great driving tonight, Chris, and we'll see you next time.
Yeah, see that.
Cool. Okay. For you, Tyler, we have Martin Verschluven.
Good evening.
Hey, Martin. Well, it wasn't the most straightforward run to a podium for you, but at the end of the day, that's where you ended up. You had your share of incidents, and then benefited from somebody else who had their share of incidents, and it cost them with a penalty. So what was that from your perspective? How stressful was it? You seem to find yourself in quite a few battles.
Yeah, I almost closed down my computer, so I thought I'm P4, so I go downstairs, take a shower, and then my teammate said you're P3. I said, how can that be? But Adam had a penalty, so Yeah, it was a bit of a surprise.
Yeah, so we obviously you had the kind of alternative strategy, it seemed, to split the race into thirds. Was that your strategy from the start, or was it after your kind of spin you decided to bring it in a little earlier than you planned?
No, it was because of the spin. I got hit from behind. A little bit my mistake to move too much. And then I thought from let's take the fast repair and see what happens from there. So it wasn't planned.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's pretty much what we expected, I think. But it was kind of a back and forth day for you. Obviously, we saw you in that battle with who was it, Carl and Abdul and Paul, I think it was.
Yeah.
We're trying to get a sense of what the BOP is like with the latest updates. Where, as the only Ford in the field, do you feel like the Ford stands compared to some of the other cars you were racing out there today?
Well, last race in Bathurst, I had a massive top speed, and now Chris Shaw came past like it was even in a different class. It was really fast.
To be the universal thing that people noticed was Chris Shaw's top speed. Yeah.
Yeah. So no, I don't think that's changed a lot. I think it's fairly close to each other. Chris had a different setup, I think. So I don't think there's changed a lot between before the update, let's say.
Gotcha. Well, yep. Anyway, we move on to Interlagos next, as Pete just found out for us. So, track you look forward to, or are you dreading it a bit?
No, I like it. It's a nice track, flowing lines in there. A little bit of height difference. So, yeah, I like it. Nice track.
Awesome. Well, we look forward to seeing you have another crack at the Paceworks boys there. And anyone you'd like to give a shout out to before we say goodnight?
Yeah, you guys for the broadcast again. Again, nice work. And the guy from iRacing who decided to move the track limit at Spa. But it's such a nice thing now that you can push a little bit more than before. So nice thing.
Excellent. Well, congratulations once again on your podium, Martin. And we will see you next time out.
Okay, see you.
Cool. Right. Before he gets bored, I'm going to bring in the AM class winner from tonight, Callum Mooney. How are you doing?
Yeah, not bad. Pretty pleased with the finish there.
Awesome stuff. You must be from up near where I live. I live in Stockton. Your accent definitely sounds like you're from the northeast.
Ashington.
Ashington, right? Okay.
Yeah.
I'll be careful what I say to you then. Great result. 6th overall with the penalty from being applied to Adam Watson. And first in your class, handy bag of points on a very sweaty day in the north of Britain.
Oh yeah, very sweaty. Tell us about it. But lap 1 was a little bit of a disaster for us in the hairpin. Just was someone sending it 3 wide. I didn't realise at the time what had happened. I've just checked it there on the replay, but I ended up, I think, 2nd from the back. So I did not expect to come anywhere near where I did at the end, but I'm happy with that result. Had a few close battle with Kempman on. I think he's leading the ARM standings at the minute, so it's pretty close between me and him.
Yeah, he made a mistake, I think, at the chicane or somewhere towards the very end of the race and separated you apart. But very close racing, very professional racing from you guys tonight. Noting the quality of the racing gets better every week with this series.
Yeah, definitely. Like I say, it's clean racing. You know who you're racing with every week. You know what people are like. I mean, there's nobody in here that's going to sort of crash you out intentionally. It's an accident if it does happen, but it's very clean. And with the updated track limits on this track, it just makes it so much more enjoyable.
Yeah, I think that's another consensus decision from everybody.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, you'll be going between the lakes next time round into Lagos. Is that a place that you've seen success in the past?
To be honest, I've not raced it too much. Last season I'd done a couple of races there, but it's an alright track. There's a very, very easy off track to get there. I think it's turn 4, I think it is, which always
Outside.
catches me out every time, so that's gonna have to be careful. But yeah, I stuck a couple of the lads in the team changed cars, and I was happy enough. I didn't, with us working through the week, I don't get time to get on the sim, so I just thought I haven't got time to learn another car, and I just stuck with the Porsche, and it seems to have worked out. I'm happy with it.
Well, it certainly has for tonight. Anybody you'd like to have a shout out to before we let you go?
Like just as the usual, everyone in the team for helping out with the setups and stuff like that. It's always handy to have a few heads together to make it right and make it better. And then obviously you guys for putting the broadcast on.
Very good. Thank you very much.
No problem.
Our AM class winner tonight, Callum Mooney. Right then, he's gone. Right. So next up, I've tactically done this because I'm pretty sure you'll want to have a long conversation with Jamie Wilson, Tyler.
Jamie Wilson ended up with a 4th place finish after the penalty, but looked like you were going strong to a top 5, and really, really fantastic. Providing fantastic TV for the viewers at home with your battle with Abdul and your battle with, everyone you battled against working your way forward in that first stint. Probably not the qualifying you were hoping for, but how about your race?
The news to me about the penalty, I didn't realise that. Any more good news while you're at it?
No, just 4th. Sorry, no podium.
It was very, very intense race. Very sweaty. Points in it where I couldn't see because of the eyebrow sweat in VR problem going in.
Yeah.
That's pretty bad. And there's too much shifting around here to better deal with it efficiently on a straight, if you get it on one half of the track anyway. But really, 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 really fun race. As you say, not a great qualifying, but then that's not really my strength, to be honest. And, as always, the Chris Shaw technique of don't do any practice and use a default setup was the plan this time. So I shouldn't really expect any more than that. I think it was 13th or something like that. But I knew from practice, I had a little bit of a race with AAA in the practice beforehand, and he was like, "It's impossible to pass you," and I was just thinking, "Yeah, good, isn't it?" So when we ended up in the same point on the track, we both knew what to expect as part of that, and it was really good fun. I was just saying in the waiting room that I could have pitted maybe 4 or 5 laps earlier at that point. It was just too much fun annoying Abdul, so I stayed out.
Yeah, I was, if you watch it back, I was fanboying a little over your battle with Abdul in the broadcast. It was just really, really excellent tactical racing, just watching you two position, box each other out and take defensive lines and know where you need to put the cars and, changing it up, Abdul, to try and attack you. It was really fantastic to watch. But we had seen you were, I think, one of 2 drivers to try the splitting the race into thirds strategy. And we just talked to Martin, who was the other one, and he said he didn't do it on purpose. Was that your plan from the start, or was that just you trying to come up with something to put yourself in a better track position situation?
Kind of both in a way. I did. It was. I didn't go into it with a hard and fast plan. But I did have in the back of my mind the thought of doing that in the sort of as the primary strategy, so to speak. If nothing changed, then that would be what I'd do basically. It's a long way round way of saying it, but it seemed to work. It must. I did it at Bathurst as well, and it must surprise the other people in the pit lane when you come in at the same time, and all of a sudden, I end up like 4 seconds ahead of them, or whatever it is, and that does get paid back at the end, of course, but to an extent. But it's basically it's a means of getting in a position where you can play interference and just get in amongst people, and if you can battle people that you're kind of out of position with in that sense, then it means they could in theory drop back to you later on. So and it's also just doing something different, which is always the thing to do.
Absolutely, yeah. I was reminiscing back to the V8 race here not long ago, where everybody was doing that. I was honestly a bit surprised that more people didn't, give it a try, just trying to do something different. But I think when you're not taking tires on the stop, it makes it a little less promising of a proposition. But interesting to hear. We talked about your battle with Abdul. Do you know what happened to the asymmetric guys?
I've just found out after the fact. I just assumed that he'd taken tyres or something. But no, I heard the brief version. I look forward to watching that back to see exactly what happened.
Yeah, I imagine it must have been quite the surprise for you to pop out well clear of both Paul and Abdul.
Yeah, definitely. When Abdul was like 30 seconds back, that's why I thought, he must have taken tyres or something. I must have frustrated him so much. He must have used all these tyres up. So he would have taken them. But yeah, and to come out a couple of seconds ahead of Paul was a surprise. But obviously there'd been quite a bit of overlap in the strategies there, so I didn't know if he'd caught traffic or just had a bit of a scruffy lap or two or something like that. And so I didn't know what the exact circumstance was. I just found out in the waiting room just now. So yeah, looking forward as always to watching the broadcast back, and probably Abdul's VOD, as I assume he streamed it. So yeah, looking forward to that.
Excellent. Well, Jamie, do you have anyone you'd like to give a shout out to before we let you go?
Yourselves, as always, for putting it on, and obviously putting the broadcast on, and yeah, just as always, the field is a lot of respectful driving out there. As much as for example, for as much as we jest about, for example, Send Cullen.
Don't inflate us.
Don't do it.
Yeah.
Don't do it, Jamie.
We all have a laugh and everything, but no, it was all very respectful and good stuff. So yeah, I forget where this goes next. Maybe you could enlighten me on that one.
Interlagos.
Interlagos, okay. That's kind of generic track in my mind. So, but yeah, no, that should be good fun, bit of drafting up the main straight and that kind of thing. So, yeah, looking forward to it.
Excellent. Well, congratulations on your top 5 finish, and we'll see you next time out, Jamie Wilson.
Cheers, guys.
Cool. Always a nice guy to have a conversation with. Right then. Next in the booth is Paul Burgess. Good evening.
Good evening.
I think you finished 5th in the end.
I did indeed.
Yeah, after Adam took a penalty and demoted himself to 9th, I think he ended up. A rather, well, I want to say quiet race for you. You were in and around some battles, but it was generally the other people being the aggressors or the victims. And you moved. Did you move back from your start position? You were quite high up at the start, weren't you? You were like 5th or something, or 4th.
P4, yeah.
Yeah. And then got a bit shuffled back throughout the race.
Yeah, so I mean, I've switched car for this race, and I had not much practice at all in the Porsche before this, and I haven't driven it much. So it was still quite a learning experience throughout the race. So I was taking it a bit easy early on and happy just to sit at the back of battles and figure things out a bit and just where I could attack, but didn't feel truly confident in the car that race. First time I sort of done that distance in it, so happy to have got a P5. I've been happy with a top 10 at the start of the day, so yeah, I think it went well from that perspective.
Very much so. You should be twice as happy as you thought you'd be.
Yeah.
Yeah, the as myself and Tyler have been noting, the balance of performance seems to have been well addressed by iRacing, because in order of the top 5 was Corvette, Ferrari, Ford, BMW, and then yourself. You were the top Porsche. So good effort there. Hopefully not too long before we see you on a podium. Would that be at Interlagos next time out for you?
Fingers crossed. We'll have to get a bit more time behind the wheel. I think with the Porsche, it was feeling more comfortable towards the end. I was catching Jamie quite quickly as his tyres were worse than mine. And a few sketchy moments as I was pushing it hard. So yeah, fingers crossed. I feel a bit more comfortable and I can attack it a bit more. The qualifying lap I attacked pretty well, so we'll see what I can bring next time and see how comfortable I am in the car.
Awesome. Anybody you'd like to thank before we let you go?
The team, particularly Callum, he had a good setup together that meant I could jump in the car pretty quickly. Less so Abdul this week as he crashed in front of me and cost me the place of Jamie, but hey, he'd worked hard before that in fighting Jamie and to bring me back into that battle, so I can't complain too much. But yeah, and of course you guys as usual for putting on the race.
Awesome stuff. Great result tonight. 5th place overall, and 5th place in Pro, obviously. Hopefully we'll see you moving up the championship table. Great racing. Yeah.
Cheers. Bye.
Bye. Don't know why I said bye at the end. What do I know him? I don't know. Yeah, clearly. Okay, so to continue the bromance, I'll bring in for you, Tyler. 1, send Cullen.
I heard what Jamie said.
You heard nothing. We're erasing that bit.
Oh, that's fine. How are you guys?
We are good, Ben. It was it was a bit of a drive back from. Did you just have the one incident towards the beginning with Marco, or was there more? Was there more to that?
I think Marco was the unfortunate one in that incident at the start.
Okay.
We were 3 wide. Stefan came up the inside, and that was kind of pinball effect.
Yeah, we didn't get a good look at it because we were looking at Mark Heron, who spun behind you. But
yeah, it was. I was obviously conscious because first lap everybody's going to check up there, so I was conscious of not running into the back of Jamie, and I think I may have surprised Stefan a little bit, and he came up the inside of me, and then the 3 wide into that corner doesn't work.
Gotcha.
And then the only other incident I had was with Marcel Kempener, where he tried to come around the outside, and I just pinched across my nose.
That's right. Yep.
But that was it for other than incidents. Otherwise, it was a fairly clean race.
Yeah, it seemed like you and Adam were pretty decent as far as pace was concerned, which I don't think you guys put a ton of time into learning the changes to the Porsche, so I thought that was pretty impressive, and I also appreciated you giving me the pit insight when I stopped in. But how did you feel with the changes? Do you feel like the car has changed all that much, or is it just a matter of adjusting a little bit?
The biggest notice that you're noticing on the cars is the drag effect. Obviously, you're not reaching the same kind of top speed that you were, so you have to get your mind around that at the start. Like the first few laps, you're out of it. You're going, I'm not as fast as I was. Like, what? Why? What am I doing wrong here? And then you're like, they've added drag to the car, so I'm losing time, etc. The biggest uncertainty with this race going into it was the tyres, just purely because, as you're saying, we didn't really do enough. So I took a gamble and took the tyres, and in hindsight, didn't really pay off, because if I hadn't taken them, you take those 10 seconds off the pit stop, and that's me battling with Jamie there for 4th and 5th with Paul. But it's a lesson learned, and we'll go ahead and see what happens in the next round.
Yeah, fair enough. Next time out at Interlagos, looking forward to it?
It's an interesting track. It sucks you in, but it's very easy to make a mistake.
Fair enough. Very easy to send it off there, isn't it?
I've just seen my name change in the Discord. You can change that back. That is such a dirty laugh, that, Pete. That is awful laugh.
Don't know what you're on about.
You can tell when Pete's happy with himself.
That wasn't even me.
He definitely had a smile on his face when he saw that typed.
I've been giggling for about 4 minutes.
Well, Ben, anyone you'd like to give a shout out to before we let you go?
Not Sam, because I'm guessing that was Sam that changed it. Wow. Thanks, Tyler, for your help and support. Thanks, Pete, for your emotional support and bullying.
Yeah, absolutely. What doesn't kill you just makes you stronger. Don't forget that.
I will not forget that. Thanks to all the drivers in the league. It's good, clean racing. It has been for a while, and everybody's there or thereabouts. And there's always battles on the track, and everybody seems to be respectful and fair when there's stuff going on. For you guys putting on the broadcast, and long may it continue.
Awesome. Well, nice work on your 8th place finish, Ben. Or 7th place finish, excuse me. And we will see you next time.
Cheers, guys. Bye.
Yeah, great race from Spa. That's probably one of the most entertaining races I've seen at Spa, to be honest.
I feel like it's kind of what I was saying to start, which is that it always makes for great racing, which is probably why, much to my chagrin, it keeps being put on our schedules. But it always seems to produce good. This one in particular, though, as you mentioned, was pretty exceptional.
Yeah, and hopefully Interlagos can deliver the same. As these guys get more familiar with racing around one another, we'll see closer and closer racing without a doubt. What was I going to say then? I've just forgotten. It's late in the day, or it's too hot or something. No, I'm really impressed with the fact that the top 5 positions were 5 different manufacturers. It'd be great to see a better spread of cars over the course of this championship. A few more Fords so that we can look at the hideousness of the back of that one. But yeah, I thought this was an excellent race. It shows how skilled and fair these guys are.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. We had a couple little run-ins and some hurt feelings, I think, but by and large, it seemed either positions were redressed or there was understanding of why the situation happened, and that's just racing. It happens, and I think everyone in the league who we've talked to seems pretty appreciative of the other drivers in the league, which is all you can really hope for. From the races I've driven in it, always been good fun. So I think we're in for some more good shows moving forward.
Yeah, and I've seen the scroll bar on the event tracker, Sam, so you were clearly a very busy boy tonight.
I don't know what busy means. It's always like that. So, it's on all the leagues, but yeah, it was fair racing considering it's Spa. You always get those side-by-side door banging, which is, it's normal. It's Spa. It's part of the deal. So yeah, clean races. Looking forward to Interlagos and see what it produces.
Yeah, and on that note, I think it's time to figure out where we're going next. So if I can find my little thingammy-do, timetable-y thing. There it is. No, that's the wrong one, Pete. You're a silly boy.
You should have it prepared beforehand,
Well, there is this. Yeah.
Look how kind I am to, prepare. Give you time to bring it up.
Yeah. Go on then. I can't even find it now.
Yeah, the first one is the one you're racing, the GT4 this year thing.
Yeah, are we
Season
actually at the
5.
Red Bull Ring?
Yeah.
Oh, right, excellent.
I need
then.
to buy
I've been
it.
practicing on the right track then. That's always a good start.
Well,
I haven't put any
it's
laps
not
in
gonna
yet.
change a lot,
Have you not?
No. Been busy.
Awesome. So yeah, Red Bull Ring with the TCRs on Wednesday of this week, on the GT4s. Sorry. We're on V8s on Saturday night, but I can't remember where that is, and I can't find my.
It's Montreal.
Thank you very much. Tony will be pleased. Is he racing?
I don't know. I'm gonna have to miss it again, unfortunately. But
oh, right. Well, you're just handing over victories to them, aren't you?
I guess so.
Yeah, and then I don't remember. There is something on Sunday. Is it something called ITCR? I think we should plug this a little bit.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Some people like Pete Bingham running in TCRs around the track, 3 sprint races, orphan, door banging, that kind
And
of
that
stuff.
one is at the Nürburgring.
It is. It's the little tiny Nürburgring. So that's going to be a massively interesting race for no other reason than I'm in it, as I am in the Wednesday one. So because you know how brilliant I am at driving these cars, you'll all be watching. And so we've got quite a lot for you over the next week. And don't miss anything. Watch us on Twitch if you want to. Follow us on Facebook if you feel you need to. And you won't miss anything. I'll say goodnight. I'll let the guys say goodnight, and then I'm going straight to bed because I've got to go early for work in the morning. So thank you all very, very much for watching. Hope you were fully entertained as I was, and see you next time round.
Yeah, good night, everybody. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll catch you next time.
Yeah, thanks for watching, everybody, and see you on Wednesday to see Pit Crashes again.